Good evening and welcome to Maple Mountain High School, where tonight the Golden Eagles are at home for a big-time clash with the number one team in 5A, the Timpview Thunderbirds. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst. Chris, a big test tonight for Maple Mountain, but the Golden Eagles have been really tested pretty much all month with their schedule, starting with Orem, having Springville, now tonight getting Timpview. I'm sure there's somebody I missed in there, but for Maple Mountain, Chris, this is a big one tonight.
It is a big game for Maple Mountain, and it should be an exciting challenge. Anytime you play the number one team in the state, you can get that big win. And Maple Mountain's been in a lot of these games as we watch them run out on the field. Springville only lost one game in region, 17-0 to Timpview, and Maple Mountain was within one possession of that game as well, and they beat Orem. And should be 2-2 in region for Maple Mountain. Last region game of the season, so you definitely want to have a winning record in region and go out strong.
And really, with that schedule that Maple Mountain has played, Chris, one of the big benefits has been in that RPI race right now. Maple Mountain coming in at 14 this week, and that's a big reason why. You might look at their record and say, well, wait a second here, but when you look at their record, 4-4 overall, you might say, hey, 14's a little high. But like you just mentioned, you go through that schedule, and there's a reason why they're 4-4 and number 14.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the top 10, but it's just been a pretty difficult region matchup. And they lost to Wasatch by 1 point by leading most of that game, and so that's one they'd probably like to have back. I would have probably made a couple of spots difference there, but they've got tonight, and then on Wednesday they've got the Mountain Crest Mustangs coming in,
which should be a good one right there. But when you take a look at it, Maple Mountain at 14, I believe 14 meets 19 somewhere in there in the first round of the playoffs, and so that could be a very interesting matchup for Maple Mountain if it held true, potentially getting Orem.
Yeah, and we saw him dominate Orem earlier this season. Orem, I think, has had quite a few injuries, especially at the quarterback spot. But on our last broadcast here, Maple Mountain beat Orem by 17.
So we'll see here. They're getting ready. They have the coin toss going on right now. I think they're getting ready as well, as you see the captains meeting at midfield right here. If you look at Timpview, obviously we know about kind of the history of Timpview football and how much they've been a staple near the top. But this year, being at 5A, they're number one. And anytime you're playing the number one team in the state, there's going to be a little added maybe pressure or emotions with that. But for Timpview, really right now, it's take care of business, and you're going to be in a good spot come state playoffs.
Yeah, and this is their last game of the season. They don't have a game next week. They played a tough non-region schedule with wins over Lone Peak, Provo, and a couple of losses, one to Sky Ridge and another to Los Alamitos out of Los Alamitos, California, which I think is by the Los Angeles area. And I looked in Los Alamitos, and they had they've only lost 2 games, and it looks like they're playing a pretty tough schedule down there in Southern California. So Timpview's challenged themselves and lost to Sky Ridge, and Sky Ridge is undefeated number one team at the 6A classification.
So it's going to be interesting to see here with this one for Maple Mountain, what they're going to try to do here. As you see, it is I believe a pink out night here for Maple Mountain. The students in pink. Timpview, it looks like their students have also joined in some pink there. Not a ton of Timpview students here yet, but typically, still a couple minutes before kickoff here. Let's take a moment before the anthem. Let's take a look at our Triple T heating, cooling, and plumbing keys to the game tonight, Chris.
Yeah, first key is to protect the ball. You do not want to beat yourself. If you lose this game, make Timpview beat you. So don't turn the ball over. Timpview is going to like to throw the ball. You got to keep everything in front of it. Make Timpview earn those touchdowns. Try and force some interceptions there as well, which leads us to force some turnovers. So that's our Triple T heating, cooling, and plumbing keys to the game.
So we're getting ready here for the national anthem here at Golden Eagle Stadium. With that, we'll get ready to join the anthem here on Spanish Fork 17. Well, the national anthem has concluded here at Golden Eagles Stadium. We are moments away from kickoff. Maple Mountain in the all gray with black helmets. Timpview in the all white with white helmets here this evening. I believe it will be Thunderbird football to start here. Maple Mountain will get ready to kick this one away, and really in a good position right now, Maple Mountain. But boy, an upset tonight for the Golden Eagles would put them in a great spot. We want to welcome those watching on our YouTube page, youtube.com/SpanishFork17. We thank you for tuning in from wherever you are here this evening.
Yeah, and for Timpview, they're going to be led most likely by number 2, a sophomore quarterback, Kasaga, has almost 1,700 yards passing on the season. So it looks like Timpview loves throwing the ball this year.
Back deep to receive the kick for Timpview is Ty Nakua, number 10. He's the lone returner. So Nakua waiting for it here right around his 1 yard line. For Maple Mountain, getting ready to kick this one away is going to be number 80. That is Solomon Cromanhook, a sophomore. We'll get ready to put a foot into it. We have 12 minutes on the clock and settle in for some high school football here as the month of October hits, and it is the first probably night where there's a little chill in the air as this one will go deep, and Nakua will bring it out from the 5. Cross the 20, and he's brought down at the 21-yard line. A good tackle by Maple Mountain and a great way to start, as we'll now see the sophomore quarterback, Helaman Kasuga, and this Timpview offense. Chris, like you mentioned, they like to throw the ball. So Kasuga coming in averaging about 280 yards a game through the air.
Yeah, and they like to throw. And on that last tackle, I think it was Cruz Sierra that went down, if I saw the number correctly. But these numbers for Maple Mountain can be difficult.
So right now, 1st and 10 for Timpview at their own 23-yard line. 5 wide receivers, Kasuga by himself in the backfield, and it will be a straight quarterback draw play for Kasuga. He'll go straight ahead and get right around 5 yards or so there, and we'll make it about 2nd and 5 coming up here for Timpview.
Yeah, pretty good job by Maple Mountain sniffing that out, only allowing like a 4-yard gain, but Timpview's going no back once again, and they're going fast.
2nd down, Kasuga will put it in the air, throws over the middle, has a man, that is complete, out to Galehi, who will get it out right now to right around the 49-yard line, and that's going to be a 1st down for Timpview.
Yeah, good. Single coverage on that back end, and Galulu just went across the middle there from the slot position, and the middle of the field was wide open that time for Timpview.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 49-yard line for Timpview. Maple Mountain bringing some pressure. Kasuga going to step up, now looks to run. He'll get another 4 or 5 yards there forward before being brought down right there by Maple Mountain. I think Vilifano was in the vicinity there.
And Timpview, Kasaga didn't see anything downfield and quickly pulls that one back to run as we got the screen out here, Ryan.
Here's the screen pass. That is Quazon Villa, number 6, on the reception. He gets down inside the 35, down to about the 34-yard line. Timpview moving the ball pretty well here. First quarter, no score. 10:31 to play here in the opening quarter. Going quick, Kasuga again completes this one. This time it's out to Jackson Farrer, and Farrer there gets pretty much back to the line of scrimmage. Well, it looks like they're going to give him a yard, maybe 2.
A great job by Vilafano for Maple Mountain coming up and making a tackle there, number 12, and another gentleman as well. But tackling in space is going to be key for Maple Mountain against this fast attack that Timpview's got going on.
Kasuga gets it out quickly. There's another completion. 1st down and more, and this is going to be a Timpview touchdown. It is Keenan Pula, number 3, who takes it 32 yards into the end zone. And just like that, the T-Birds are on the board and lead 6-0.
And Maple Mountain had an opportunity to make a tackle in the open field. Misses it there, and Timpview's able to get 3 as Pula is into the end zone.
On for the extra point, it will be number 37, Luke Thornock, on for the extra point. Snap was low, they get it down, and the extra point is good. So Timpview takes a 7-0 lead here on their opening drive that was pretty flawless for the most part right there, finding a way to get into the end zone here. Let's take a moment in Spanish Fork 17. Let's thank our sponsors for making tonight's broadcast possible. We got Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, MVP Sports, Lance Wilson, State Farm Insurance, and Two Jacks Pizza. We thank you for making all these broadcasts possible each and every Friday night here on Spanish Fork 17. We want to remind you, you can catch replays of tonight's game and our other broadcasts on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Spanish Fork 17. And we have one more week, Chris, of high school football left. Next week, we're back over at Spanish Fork. It will be Timpanogos and the Dons to close out the season. That could be a high-scoring affair between those two teams. That should be an exciting game.
I'm going to take the week off, Ryan, if I can get my PTO approved.
Well, it's fine by me, but I don't have much authority on that subject. Timpview will kick it deep. Easton Merrill to the top of your screen, and he will bring it out from about the 4-yard line. Merrill with some speed, looking to get an extra block on the edge, but he's brought down at the 29-yard line. So good field position for Banks Jackson and the Maple Mountain offense. Jackson coming in, Chris, thrown for over 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but you have to think, too, one of his biggest weapons is his legs.
Yeah, he has 858 yards rushing on the season on just 96 carries. That probably includes some sacks as well. But 5 games with over 100 yards rushing for Jackson.
Jackson joined by Hoffines, who gets the carry there on first down, and Hoffines is pushed back, but forward progress will give him a couple of yards to the 31.
And that interior for Timpview, they mean business. They didn't allow anything to go through there, as 3 defenders really plugged that A and B gaps there. And what are you going to do if you're Hoffines? He was good to get a few yards on that run.
2nd down and 8 coming up, ball on the 31 for Maple Mountain. Banks Jackson at quarterback, going to take a shot, looking for Merrill over the top. He's got him. Big play from Jackson to Easton Merrill inside the Timpview 30, and it's a first down, Maple Mountain.
And Merrill has 33 catches for 556 yards coming into this game, and just added to that total, including 10 touchdowns. 10 out of the 12 have went to Easton Merrill on the season.
You would think Merrill's going to have an opportunity to play at the next level somewhere.
Well, maybe you can get a Dodge Ram truck from the University of Utah if they want him.
Banks Jackson ready to go. On the option play, he'll pitch it late to Hoffines, and the ball's on the turf. Timpview dives on it, but I think it got out of bounds before Timpview was able to recover it. A big break there for Maple Mountain early on here with 8:42 to play in the first quarter, trailing 7-0, and really getting kind of an offensive rhythm after the big play, Chris. That could have been a disastrous turnover for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, Grady Gregory, number 20 of Timpview, was able to recover it, but just out of bounds. But this Timpview team seems to have a lot of speed. But Maple Mountain took the top off it to get down here near the red zone with that long pass.
Banks Jackson back to throw with some time now being pressured, runs away, and now he'll have to use his legs inside the 20, 15. He's going to be brought down around the 12. I don't see any penalties, so it's a first down for Maple Mountain, Chris, and I just mentioned penalties. Those will be big tonight for Maple Mountain. Really, they can't afford a ton of penalties, especially on plays like that with Banks Jackson and his legs.
Yeah, you can't be yourself, and Timpview had really good pursuit, but man, like Russ, that defensive end, number 8 for Timpview, is in pursuit, but Jackson just had another gear. I'm pretty sure Timpview was expecting a sack there.
First and 10 from the 11. They'll get it outside. That is complete out to Jace Wilson. And Wilson's going to lose about 2 yards back to the 14-yard line. And I know it's tough to beat Timpview going sideline to sideline. And right there, Timpview wins that battle. They're a loss of 2.
Yeah, that was a little high snap. The timing was off, and Golela for Timpview comes up and makes a great tackle in the open field, beats his blocker. So I think just that timing of the late snap just kind of threw that whole entire play off.
2nd and 13 coming up here. Maple Mountain needs the 1 or just inside it for a fresh set of downs. Jackson back to throw. Steps up now. He's going to look to run again. He's at the 10, 5, cuts back, and he's brought down, but makes it a 3rd and very manageable for the Golden Eagles right there. Chris, you just have to kind of get the feeling early on that Banks Jackson's going to play a big part with his legs in this one. Yeah,
that was some swift moves there by Jackson. I'm sorry we don't have any Taylor Swift to show you tonight here in the audience like the NFL games, but those were some swift moves, Ryan.
So it's 3rd down, about, 3 coming up here with 6:57 to go in the first quarter. Hoffines in the backfield with Jackson. They'll fake the pitch. Now Jackson's going to look to throw. With some time, throwing end zone, has his man caught. Touchdown, Maple Mountain.
Is that Hoffines that ended up with that one?
Looking to see.
It's Leifson, Sawyer Leifson.
Right there with the touchdown. That's Banks Jackson's 13th touchdown of the season for Leifson on the year. That's his first receiving touchdown.
Did you see the window that Jackson fit that in? I thought he was going to try and run it and was able to fit it in the tight space there. Great throw by Jackson.
Benuelos on for the extra point, and just kind of a bad snap, missed timing. Timpview picked it up, started running with it, but the play is dead right there. So a tough break for Maple Mountain right there, not being able to get the extra point. However, a big-time response, Chris, from that Maple Mountain offense there, getting the big play over the top and then kind of send them maybe a quick message to Timpview. Says, hey, we're going to be able to try to score tonight.
Yeah, they've already scored more than Springville did. Springville got shut out against this same Timpview team. So we're in a 7-6 ball game. We apologize. Our scoreboard camera is not working at the moment, but we're in the first quarter with 6 minutes and 44 seconds to go. Timpview scores first on that 32-yard pass to Pula, and then Leifson catches one to answer back, but the PAT was blocked there.
So right now, 6:44 to play in the first quarter. Timpview's going to get the football back. We'll see them for the second time tonight. Back deep for them will be Ty Nakua, number 10.
And Timpview went a lot of 5 wide there, just really spreading this Maple Mountain offense and threw it all over the field. Kasaga's just a sophomore for Timpview, but, man, he looked pretty accurate on that first drive. So if Timpview's able to maintain his services for the next couple of years, he's probably going to be a good one by the time he's a senior. He's already a good one. He's going to be a great one.
Kromenhoek set to kick this one away. As this is a low line drive kick returned by Nakua. Across the 20 to the 25, trying to get outside, breaks the tackle there, and then Maple Mountain able to force him out of bounds around the 35-yard line, where Timpview will start here their next offensive possession.
So for Maple Mountain, you got to figure out how to put a little bit more pressure on Kasaga, and if you can do that with your front 4 and drop 7 back, that would be helpful. But this Timpview offense is tough because Kasaga also can put the ball down and run with it.
So right now, 1st and 10 from their own 36. They'll set the screen pass up. This is a completion. That is out to Nakua. And Nakua is going to have a first down.
Pretty good blocking by that wideout there for Timpview as we see Nakua there getting the catch, but
here with a minute here, 1st and 10. Back to throw. Stepping up, and now this time, because Kasuga throws that one away. He had a receiver in the vicinity. Maple Mountain able to get some pressure there, and it brings up a great point, Chris, to kind of think. There's an Akua in the NFL right now that's making some waves in his rookie season, and you kind of have to put the names together and think that there may be some relation right there, as that one is down the slot there too on the screen, and they'll get 4 or 5, I believe. That, trying to see, I think that was Quazon Villa, a senior.
I'll see if I can figure it out on my phone here if Ty Nakua is related to the other Nakuas.
So right now, a big 3rd and 5 for this Maple Mountain defense. 5:50 to play here in the first quarter. Timpview leads 7-6. Kasuga is going to throw down the slot again. Has a man out there, but it's going to go incomplete. On the coverage for Maple Mountain, number 26, Wyatt Christensen, just timed it perfectly from his safety spot, and he's able to knock that one away, and that will bring up 4th down.
Yeah, Ty Nakua, it looks like Timpview's going to go for it. Definitely is the brother of Samson and Puka.
So 4th down and 5 coming up right here. They're going to run it for the first time tonight, and picking up the first down is going to be number 23. That is Asia Galeli there, who has the first down.
Yeah, so Timpview goes to the run. Maple Mountain's really been selling out on that pass. That was kind of a little shock since they haven't really had any running, so we'll see if they stick to it.
And once again, they go back to kind of a similar dive draw play with the running back, and another 7 or 8 yards picked up right there on the ground as the clock runs closer to 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter.
What's interesting is Timpview really came out throwing the ball to set up the run almost in a way. Usually you see the opposite.
Once again, they'll run it outside there. They'll have a first down. A penalty flag, however, comes in. So they get down to about the 18-yard line. And this, I think, is going to pull. This may be coming back, typically in the area of a hold, Chris.
Yeah, that's kind of the area that we see on that. We'll see if we can get the ref's mic. Maybe.
Holding the offense for 78. 10-yard penalty from the foul will replay 2nd down.
So a 10-yard penalty will back it up here for Timpview.
Well, it was 2nd and 6 when the play started, wasn't it? So 2nd and 6, part 2.
They bring it back, but we'll see here what happens on this play. Kasuga throws this one complete inside the 20, and that is Villa who has it down to about the 18-yard line.
And this Timpview team they converted that 4th down. They're outside of that 3 downs that Maple Mountain really kind of shut them down a little bit. This Timpview team's been like a video game almost operating.
They're going fast. They're ready to go again. Back to throw with some time. Stepping up, Kasuga throws that one incomplete into the flat. And he may have just been trying to maybe throw that one away. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
I think that might have been, was it Hansvik that came with some pressure, number 70 for Maple Mountain there. So that's something Maple Mountain's got to do, is figure out how to get some pressure on Helaman Kasuga.
7-6 lead here early on for Timpview. 4:33 to play here in the opening quarter. Kasuga keeps it this time. Maple Mountain's there, but he spins out of it for the first time, but then Maple Mountain able to get there. It was Maddox Saby, number 16, getting there and bringing down Kasuga. And that's going to make it 3rd down and long coming up here for Timpview. They're back at about the 19 and a half, maybe the 20.
Yeah, and that was a great tackle by Saby to set up this 3rd and long. So you got to put more pressure on Timpview if you can.
Back to throw. They complete it. Quezon Villa spins away from one. Inside the 5. Still on his feet to about the 2-yard line. And it's 1st and goal coming up for Timpview. Quezon Villa, so far on the year, in the passing game, 31 catches for 325 yards coming in. He's added to that total. And an injured Golden Eagle down right now, back at around the 24-yard line.
And hopefully he gets up and is all right. But Maple Mountain's got to do a little bit better job of tackling in space. You got to just wrap up, hang on, wait for your teammates to come over to finish some of these tackles. But we've seen Timpview on the prior touchdown. Maple Mountain had a guy hang on to him for a second, and then Pula was able to get away from that. But Maple Mountain's just not done a great job of tackling in space at times tonight.
So we'll see here for Maple Mountain coming off the field.
Is that Rockwood?
Number 51, the senior offensive lineman and I believe defensive lineman for the Golden Eagles. And I know earlier in that Spanish Fork game that we did here with Maple Mountain back in August, and I know that's been a while, but that was a name, Gabe Rockwood. We called his name quite a bit in that contest.
Yeah, and he's got a motor from his defensive tackle spot, so hopefully he's all right. He can get back into this ball game.
3:35 to go here in the first quarter. Straight up the middle. This time nothing going on as Maple Mountain's able to get there. That was Quezon Villa there, who's been primarily used as a running back, it looks like, for majority of the season this year. Came in with 24 carries on the year.
And great job by Tiger Hakes among others coming in and making that tackle. But Tiger Hakes comes in low on that one and does a good job of wrapping up while his teammates finished off that play. Now Timpview will go back to 4 wide.
2nd down and 5. Kasuga pressured from the backside, throws, has a man, touchdown, Timpview. And the Thunderbirds get 6. It was on the catch, number 26, Braxton Wilkerson, a sophomore, in there for the touchdown. It's 13-6 now in favor of Timpview.
And Saga hung into the pocket. He took a little bit of a shot there, but great job staying in the pocket. And Wilkerson was wide open that time for Timpview. Nobody around.
So Timpview here for the extra point. Snap good, hold good. Kick is up. And the kick is good right there for Thornock. And it's a 14-6 lead right here for Timpview. 2:55 to play here in the opening quarter. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday night for high school football. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst. And Chris, we didn't know necessarily what we'd get in this one, but so far in the first quarter, we've gotten 20 combined points.
And really, Maple Mountain came out and they had that big pass to Easton Merrill from Banks Jackson. So that really propelled them. So they're going to need some big plays. So it looks like Timpview is running on all cylinders tonight. And really, if Maple Mountain can force a turnover in this game, that would be very helpful. But yeah, Timpview's coming out fast. Maple Mountain's huddling up a little more methodical. But Banks Jackson's shown that he can run against this Timpview team, as he's a dual threat quarterback. Timpview's defensive line's not as fast as he is, as we saw in that last drive as well. So I think Maple Mountain's offense, having Banks Jackson's been much improved this season.
Jackson comes in 500-yard rushing games this year.
100 yards.
Sorry, yeah. Thank you. Sorry. That's what I meant.
And over 800 yards on the season. So he's going to have 1,000 yards rushing most likely when it's all said and done.
Easton Merrill on the return, trying to get outside, turns it upfield and gets pushed out of bounds at around the 23-yard line. Depending here on where the spot, looks like they're going to give him the 25-yard line with that. And you have to think for Maple Mountain, that's probably a key in this ball game, Chris. You got to get a good game from Banks Jackson. Whenever you're playing, the number one team in the state, you have to be ready to go, and it takes the big-time players to step up and make some big-time plays.
Yeah, and if also they can get some runs going with Hoffines in the right direction and kind of make Timpview think that Maple Mountain's can run and pass. I think that'll help open up some things as well.
1st and 10. Here's a fake to Hoffines. The pitch now outside, and that is, I believe, Sawyer Leifson, number 20 on the carry. And Leifson able to pick up close to 10. In fact, they're going to give him 10 and a first down to the 35.
Yeah, Maple Mountain stays on brand. They look like they're wearing the Army jerseys from a few years ago, and they go with the option on that play. Yeah, great job by Banks Jackson reading the defense and making the pitch at the right moment to get the maximum yards rushing on that play.
Jackson throws this one into the flat. That's complete. Breaking a couple of tackles before being shoved out of bounds. Right there is Sawyer Leifson again, the converted quarterback, now playing running back, receiver, kind of wherever he's needed for Maple Mountain.
And he's just a junior. He played quarterback when there were some injuries last year for Maple Mountain admirably. It was a struggle last year for Maple Mountain, I think, to stay healthy and to get some wins. But yeah, this offense is playing, number 1 team in the state, and they haven't had any trouble moving it so far in the first quarter and trail by 8.
Ready to go here. This is a carry, I believe, once again. Not sure if that's... And that was Hoffines there, number 27 on the carry, as we have 2:17 to play first quarter. 14-6 lead for Timpview.
Yeah, and Hyunga that time for Timpview came up and made the tackle there, and really it's going to be tough to run against this team in spots, and we saw that there. 3rd and 1, another traditional running down here, but if you're Maple Mountain, maybe you roll Banks Jackson out if he can get it with his legs. Have him do that.
We talked about how good Springville's been with Valetti, and that I can see why they may have struggled against this Timpview front if you're a run-dominant offense. Here's Banks Jackson up the middle, and he's going to have enough for a first down, maybe on second effort, and he gets out to the 47. He'll move the chains here with 1:39 to play in the first quarter.
Well, what was interesting is they pulled the guard and tackled, maybe it was the guard and center that time to the right, but Timpview read it well. Banks Jackson regroups. Instead of going right, he kind of goes left/middle to get the first down, so great effort. I don't think the play, based on the blocking, was not designed to go that way.
Jackson goes play action, takes a shot down the sideline looking for Leifson. That one just thrown incomplete, a little too far towards the sideline, and it will bring up 2nd and 10 with 1:16 to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, Lesson, number 24 for Timpview, had an excellent spin move to get away from the Maple Mountain blocker, and unfortunately Banks Jackson needed to hang on to that ball probably for another second to allow Leifson to get a little more separation at the bottom of your screen.
2nd and 10 from their own 47 here for Maple Mountain. Jackson rolls out, looking downfield, throws, has a man out there. That's Leifson. That's a first down to about the 30-yard line of Timpview, depending on the spot. And a nice job there from Banks Jackson. Chris, you mentioned it earlier on the rollout, and right there they let him move out of the pocket.
And you know how hard that is to throw a football. Now try doing it while you're moving and you've got Lessa coming at you full speed. Great job by Jackson to make that throw.
Jackson this time being pressured again, throws this one complete. That is out to Max Stonebreaker, the sophomore wide receiver, and he's brought down after a short gain there of 2 or 3 as we're under a minute with 45 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
And Stonebreaker's not the biggest guy, but man, makes a big time play there, getting a few yards on first down, and that's as good as running it there. Maple Mountain's probably not going to be able to line up and get you 4 or 5 yards on the run first down, but they were creative and kind of using this raid offense to get it.
14-6 lead for Timpview. Here's Hoffines right up the middle, and Hoffines maybe gets a yard, no more than 2, depending on the spot right there, and that might be the last play of the quarter, Chris.
Yeah, that could be if Maple Mountain wants it to be. We got clock winding down here, but yeah, Maple Mountain's going to struggle tonight to run the ball on Timpview, as we've seen on that play and other plays.
So we've reached the end of the first quarter, a 14-6 lead. Timpview on top of Maple Mountain. You're watching high school football here on Spanish Fork 17.
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
Start of the second quarter here on Spanish Fork 17. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst. It's a 14-6 lead for Timpview on top of Maple Mountain. The Golden Eagles, however, will start the second quarter in the middle of their drive, and they're at the Timpview 24-yard line, but a key third down and about 4 coming up here for Maple Mountain.
And Maple Mountain's in field goal range, but I think they're going to need to keep up with Timpview with touchdowns.
Banks Jackson rolling out, now escapes the pressure, throws. This one's going to be batted up in the air. A penalty flag comes in, though, and this may be against Timpview, Chris, right there. And I don't know if that's going to be that may be a late hit on the quarterback.
I was trying to figure out who tipped it. I didn't see the late hit there.
I believe it may have been Monga, number 44, who tipped it.
Personal foul, looking the pass here.
They censored the number, I think, on us there, Ryan, with the announcement. refs might cut out.
Nonetheless, there, a first down for Maple Mountain, and they're at the 12-yard line. So a great opportunity here for Maple Mountain with 11:54 to go before halftime. Their second play of the quarter coming up right here.
And Maple Mountain has just been moving the ball up and down on Timpview on their first 2 drives.
And we're going to have a timeout. Kaylin Hall wants to talk about it here with 11:54 to play in the second quarter. And I think that kind of shows you how important right now this drive is. Because, Chris, I really like the point you just brought up of, you know, are they going to, can Maple Mountain afford field goals tonight? Really, you kind of get this kind of feeling of Maple Mountain's going to have to score touchdowns because field goals aren't going to beat Timpview.
They're not going to beat Timpview, and they're going to have to figure out how to get the ball away from Timpview because Timpview's got a lot of talent. I mean, you can tell just by watching their offense. Their wide receivers are very athletic. They've got a quarterback that's got an accurate arm in Saga. So Maple Mountain's going to have to figure out how to get some pressure, maybe get some turnovers to disrupt this Timpview defense. But I can see why Timpview's 6-2 and their 2 losses have come against fantastic opponents.
So first down and 10 from the 12. Jackson back to throw. With some time, he looked for a lane to run, now pulls it back, looking to throw, and that one's going to be, I believe, intercepted. Picked off at the 1-yard line. Coming away with it was Asia Galei there for Timpview on the diving interception right there that will end the Maple Mountain drive.
And that's just Jackson's 5th interception on the season for Maple Mountain. Really just trying, there wasn't really too many open windows there, but Galei makes an excellent catch there. And well, curious to see if Timpview decides to go 5 wide at their own 1.
And right now, I mean, I guess that's the bright spot you can take it if you're Maple Mountain. If you're not coming away with points there, you've pinned them about as far back as you can.
The clock's running, and they've only got their 5 linemen out there.
So right now, 14 seconds on the play clock, 11:45 to go before halftime. 14-6 lead for Timpview.
And they do go 4 wide.
Single back set right here. We'll see if Maple Mountain dials up some pressure here.
They got to go. They barely got it off.
Kasuga there. They hand it off, and that's going to be a big hit by Maple Mountain right around the line of scrimmage as Will Rasmussen, I believe number 19, was on the carry.
And I wasn't sure if that was Breenhurst on the big hit or if that was Tiger Hakes, but one of those 2 guys had a pretty decent hit there.
It's going to be maybe a half-yard gain or so, depending on how you want to look at it. Still close to 2nd and 10 coming up. Kasuga throws this time a slant. It goes incomplete. Right there, running a little bit before he had the ball for Timpview was Jackson Farrer, because if Farrer makes that catch, Chris, it might have been a foot race to the end zone on the other side.
And that would have been a 90, I think they'd have given him 99 yards, which would pretty much be a world record, because you can't get too much further than that on a catch, unless you're playing Canadian football.
Big 3rd and 10 here. Maple Mountain's defense trying to come with a big stop, and that pass goes incomplete. Off the hands there of Villa, the intended wide receiver, and it's 4th down and 10 coming up.
Well, the defense gets a 3 and out, and Timpview's got to be careful with this punt. If you're number 7 far, you got to be sure you're not touching the back line. If you're the deep snapper there, which I didn't catch his number, you got to be careful not to snap it over anybody's head. So the execution here is critical, and Maple Mountain should get good field position.
Derek Morehouse at the Timpview 40-yard line right there. So it'll pretty much be a one-step and punt for Jackson Farrer. Morehouse makes the catch at the Timpview 32, makes a cut and slips at about the 30-yard line. So great field position if you're Maple Mountain. The offense, though, Chris, really need to thank that defense, because that's a big 3 and out against a good Timpview offense. You don't know how many of those you're going to get tonight.
Yeah, Timpview had a couple of drops there, or a couple of, well, one drop in particular that could have been a 99-yard touchdown reception. So Maple Mountain dodges a bullet after that Banks-Jackson INT that happened at the 1-yard line.
14-6 lead Timpview, 10:58 to play here before halftime. Maple Mountain comes out here with 4 wide receivers, Banks-Jackson at quarterback. And Jackson back to throw. He's taking a shot first play, looking for Easton Merrill in the end zone. He adjusts. It goes incomplete right there. Maple Mountain wanting a flag right there as that kind of battle back and forth there with Merrill. I was trying to pick up the number for Timpview, but one goes incomplete.
And the defender kind of turns his head at the last second there, but that's one that could have been called. That's a tough call to make. Nonetheless, it's 2nd down and 10 here from your own 30. So
2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line. Banks-Jackson and Maple Mountain, I believe, jumped just a hair early. And this should back Maple Mountain up 5.
Yeah, I think that was at Dedeker that jumped that time from Maple Mountain.
Please not all-start offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, it's still 2nd down.
And that was Dedeker that moved your Maple Mountain's right guard that time, and that's something Maple Mountain hasn't had too many penalties tonight, but when you're playing the number 1 team in your classification, and Timpview basically is the region champ, win, lose, or draw, you can ill afford too many mistakes.
Banks-Jackson back to throw. He takes off. He'll run. He's at the 30. Cuts back 25. Gets a lane at the 20. Still on his feet. Picks up a block. And Banks-Jackson's out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. A great effort there from Banks-Jackson.
Yeah, Banks-Jackson goes to your right and then cuts back to the left there and has some good moves in between. But touchdown saving tackle, I think that time by, was it Rasmussen? That was, could have been a block in the back there, but no call. Actually, that was, I think that might have been Tua for Timpview with the touchdown saving tackle out of bounds. But great run by Banks-Jackson, and really he gives you that ability where he's a pretty accurate thrower and the ability to run. Maple Mountain's got to go fast.
10-11 to go, 2 seconds on the play clock, and then Kalen Hall he'll take a timeout right here. Maple Mountain back in the red zone. 2nd timeout called by the Golden Eagles here, and this is one of those. This is kind of one of those drives where you get the feeling, if you're Maple Mountain, that A, you need points first off, but number two, Chris, a touchdown here isn't mandatory, but very, very important so far early on, just because this Timpview offense has been so good, not just tonight but all year. You don't know how many possessions you're going to be able to get with them not scoring.
And really, a touchdown would keep them within a one possession radius of striking in this game, even if Timpview scored. So really, but credit the defense for getting that big 3 and out on that last drive. Maple Mountain starting at their Timpview's 30-yard line for this possession. If you start on the 30, you've got to come away with 6 points.
Banks Jackson takes the snap, looking towards the end zone, throws in the flat. He has a man out there. Ball comes loose, but it's going to go out of bounds. Jace Wilson, number 2, had the ball pop out, but it's going to end up going out of bounds. It will stay with Maple Mountain, and it will be 3rd down and goal coming up.
Yeah, and what a hit by that time by, I think it was Gregory and Galula that time for Timpview coming up and making that hit. But fortunately, the sideline was there for Maple Mountain, so 2nd and goal from the 2. It's probably a spot where you will possibly get Banks Jackson rolling out in space, and if he can sneak into the end zone, great. If not, he has an option to throw it as well.
Straight up the middle with Banks Jackson going towards the end zone. He's going to come up just short. He'll be brought down around the 1, so a short gain of a yard with 9:51 to play here in the second quarter. Timpview leading 14-6, but Maple Mountain about a yard and a half away, Chris, from having a potential to get back within 2, maybe 1, depending, and if they go for 2 and get a conversion, potentially tie it.
Yeah, and that was a great tackle by Lessa, but I think Maple Mountain is in 4-down territory here, but it's tough running on this defense of Timpview. They've got a lot of strong men and athletic guys on that front.
Jackson back to throw, steps up, now looking to run, stops, throws at the last minute, and it's going to go incomplete. He was looking for
Stonebreaker that time.
And that makes it 4th and 1. And Chris, this is where it's tough, because some people may say, hey, if you're Maple Mountain, you're not going to have a ton of success running the ball up the middle, but sometimes even if you know you're not going to have a lot of success with it, you still have to show it, right?
Right, and if they don't get it here, at the worst case scenarios, Timpview, you're probably going to lose 1 yard or 2 yards running. Worst case, Timpview would have to go 98 or 97 yards.
I'm not saying run it up the middle here, but I'm just saying in general here. Jackson back to throw. Lewis some time now being pressured, looking to make a play, throws it in the end zone, has a man. It's going to be a penalty flag coming in right here, and this most likely is going to be a penalty in the end zone against Timpview, which would give Maple Mountain a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, and it would be half a distance to go. We got to see here if Maple Mountain pushes off on this play. Doesn't look like it. Looks like number 20, Gregory, gets there early. I guess we'll replay 4th down. It's not a automatic first down at the high school level.
So nonetheless, it looks like it's going to be 4th down and 1 again for Maple Mountain. They're just going to replay the down.
Timpview had pretty good pursuit on Banks Jackson. Maybe it would be good just to run it up the middle here.
Here's Hoffines. He's in. Touchdown, Maple Mountain.
A great job by Hoffines. Timpview over pursued on the play before. Maple Mountain goes with that drop play and really good blocking, and all they needed was half a yard, and Hoffines picks it up on the ground, and Maple Mountain's trailing 14-12 with 9:05 here in the second quarter. Maple Mountain were to pull this off, this would possibly be their biggest win, being the number 1. I don't know. I guess going to the quarterfinals was pretty exciting.
Penalty flag
a
coming
couple
up.
Times.
Right,
sorry, semifinals.
As they'll get ready here, Fernando Banuelos will kick the extra point.
Start offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, 1 time down.
But it'll be a false start penalty. Will back Maple Mountain up 5. So Still a straight-on extra point here for Banuelos. Keep in mind, on the earlier extra point for Maple Mountain, they had a tough time with the snap, and it just threw the whole rhythm of the playoff. This one's up and looks good, and it's through. So Maple Mountain cuts within one. It's 14-13 with 9:05 to go here in the second quarter. Let's take a moment here and thank our sponsors on Spanish Fork 17.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance, MVP Sports, Two Jacks Pizza, and Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for making this broadcast possible. Also, remember, you can watch these games on the Spanish Fork 17 YouTube channel. There's the URL there, and if you're watching it, thanks for supporting us on our YouTube channel. And then next week, we're going to be, Ryan's going to be at the Dons game, and the rest of the crew as Timpanogos comes in to town, and that should be an exciting game. Friday the 13th battle, so anything can happen on those nights.
And you're going to be, next Friday in Italy?
Well, two cities, but it's Spain and then later on in Amsterdam, Barcelona.
Chris will be off next weekend as we'll get set and ready to go with Cromanhook to kick it away. And this one will be kicked deep. Nakua runs up. He'll take it on the run about the 9-yard line. Gets outside, breaks one tackle. And Maple Mountain in great pursuit right there. Will keep him inside the 30 to start. Maple Mountain's defense did a great job on the last drive here for holding Timpview. But it's going to be continual. It's going to be a constant battle tonight right now, Chris. But what did you see from the defense that you liked to kind of lead him in that last drive?
Yeah, I think Maple Mountain was trying to push to get a safety on that last drive, so they came out with a lot of intensity, especially at the line. And Timpview had some bad execution on a couple of plays. That didn't hurt as well. But I wonder if Timpview's going to come out here and try and run it on this drive a little more.
8:55 to play before halftime. As Kasuga throws that one out in this out to Nakua for a short game about 3.
And I think that might have been Fagan out there with the tackle for Maple Mountain, and Maple Mountain needs to tackle in space like that.
Right there, there's a completion. Maple Mountain, though, right there once again getting some good push as Braxton Wilkerson makes the catch for Timpview. And that's been one thing. Those corners for Maple Mountain, they're getting a lot of pressure and a lot of push on those screen passes. We've seen a ton of those screen passes tonight from Timpview.
And they had great tackle by Hardy in space that time.
And I didn't see a penalty, but they're backing Timpview up.
I think there was a hold on the receiver on the end.
Timpview's all ready to go. The official had not made the announcement yet of the penalty. Timpview and Maple Mountain are saying, hey, we're ready to play. Let's go.
Yeah, Timpview was going to throw that screen again when the ref was out there.
Use the ref as an extra blocker. Second down and about 20 or so. It's going to back them up right now to their own 22-yard line. Kasuga back to throw with some time, stepping up, throws this one complete along the sideline right there, breaking a couple of tackles is Wilkerson, and he's going to have pretty close to the line needed there for a fresh set of downs. The sophomore there able to make a nice play.
It brings up 3rd and 1 here for Timpview. Could be a big stop here for Maple Mountain if they're able to get off the field here, just trailing by 1. 8:11 to go.
3rd down and 1. Timpview ready to go. 15 on the play clock. 8:09 on the game clock here before halftime. And Kasuga's going to keep it. Tiger Hakes got there, but Kasuga stretches forward. Ball comes loose. Maple Mountain says they're on it. The question's going to be whether he's down. We'll see what the officials are going to sort out the pile. As they
I think they're going to give it to... Ooh.
Officials are discussing. They're going to give it to Timpview. They're going to say he was, I think they're going to say he was down.
That was close. All the fans up here said he was not down. I can hear him in front of us.
All I can say is if we had a replay and I'm the replay official, I'm hitting that buzzer very much right there to say, hey, let's take another look at that. Play action fake. Kasuga throws down the sideline, has a man out there. It's complete. That is Nakua down to about the 35-yard line. A penalty flag comes in at the end, and this I think it's going to be some kind of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I just don't know which side it's going to be against, and by the initial look, it may be against Timpview, Chris.
Yeah, Nakua kind of gave the first down symbol there.
Unsportsmanlike offense, number 10. 15-yard penalty, it's still first down.
So they'll back him up 15 yards, and so when you really take a look at it, it will still be Timpview first down, but essentially Timpview is going to go back to where they just snapped the ball from.
Well, they gained a net of 9 yards after the penalty, but they're now on their own side of the field again.
So first down and 10, ball on the 49 right now of Timpview. 14-13. Thunderbirds lead the Golden Eagles. Here's the run play. They try to cut it back. Maple Mountain's there. The Golden Eagles with great pursuit. It will be a loss right there of about a yard coming up there for Timpview, and it's second down and 11.
Kafika Greenhurst, the defensive end that time, comes up and makes a great tackle. That's a tackle for loss there. Timpview, when they ran it on that second drive, they had no problems running the ball.
Second down right now and about 11. Timpview back to throw. Kasuga steps up, has a man out there. It's intercepted. Picked off Maple Mountain, and coming away with it is going to be Vilifano, number 12. A penalty flag has been thrown, and I don't believe it's going to be of the pass interference kind, Chris. I think it may be some kind of extracurricular activity.
Yeah, Pula was getting in at the end of that play a little bit there, along with Wilkerson.
And that one may be against Maple Mountain.
Yeah, Maple Mountain threw the first hit there, and that was Hardy. Then, I don't know, because Pula threw the second one there. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll be offsetting. But one thing's for sure, Maple Mountain came to play. They are not intimidated tonight.
That is the 7th interception by Kasuga on the year, and if there's one knock maybe against the sophomore, it may be that touchdown interception. He came in entering tonight 13 touchdowns, 6 INTs with that.
Well, now he's got 15 and 7, so he's keeping above that 2-to-1 ratio.
So right now the officials still kind of sorting this out.
I think the question is it offsetting or?
And if it's offsetting here, Maple Mountain, it won't be necessarily a replay the down, right? It will still be Maple Mountain football.
It'll be Maple Mountain football. It was after.
During the play, there were 3 fouls. All 3 took place after the interception. First foul is face mask in the defense. Second foul is if the back goes offset. The dead ball, personal foul, number 5 from Timpview. That's a 15-yard penalty.
Well, sometimes it's not the guy that makes the first hit, it's the retaliation that gets the flag. Maybe Rockwood made that hit before the whistle was over, so I don't know. But I thought it was going to, if anything, I thought it was going to go 15 yards the other way.
So right there, the second Timpview penalty for a personal foul here, really. And that's one thing sometimes, Chris, when you get into a game like this, you start maybe getting frustrated. Maybe you overlooked the opponent a little bit. But right now, the biggest thing, if you're Timpview, is you got to kind of recheck back in and just get back to playing football. Here's Banks Jackson. Quarterback draw play. Jackson gets outside, has a first down, out of bounds at the 33-yard line, but it looks like a penalty flag, and this one may be coming back.
Yeah, I think there was a block in the back downfield, Probably. It's going to be a hold, I think, on one that time. That was close.
So it'll be first down, it'll be a 10-yard penalty. And that's one thing, Chris, sometimes in these games when you start seeing penalties, especially when you start seeing personal fouls and late hits, sometimes the officials start calling things a lot closer than what they would without those penalties.
Yeah, well, 10 yards downfield means that we start right at the sticks again, 1st and 10.
So ball right on the 50. Hoffines up the middle. He will go ahead and get about 3 or 4. I think they'll give him 3 down to about the 47-yard line to make it 2nd down and 7 with 6:29 to play here before halftime. 14-13 lead for Timpview. And if there's some people around the state of Utah tonight that is just checking the scoreboard, Timpview may be on upset alert.
Well, and credit Maple Mountain. They have not been intimidated by the ranking tonight. They've came out and they've played with a lot of confidence. Their defense is starting to wake up a little bit here. But it's going to be a tough battle tonight for sure.
2nd down and 7. Here is Banks Jackson trying to get outside. Good pursuit from Timpview, but Jackson able to at least get back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, he's going to gain a yard after all of that, but a nice pursuit there by the Thunderbirds.
And McCasina finally makes a tackle for Timpview that time, but Banks Jackson is looking like one of the fastest guys on the field at all times, and that's really paying dividends for Maple Mountain.
5:54 to go here before halftime. A big 3rd and 5 coming up for Maple Mountain. With the football in Thunderbird territory at the 46. Jackson back to throw, taking a shot, looking for Easton Merrill down the sideline. Merrill makes a late adjustment. A penalty flag comes in, and this may very easily be pass interference against Timpview.
Yeah, Chua, number 16 on the end there, will probably get called for pass interference. The question is that ball catchable or not? And if Easton Merrill isn't interfered with, I don't know if he's able to catch that ball in bounds, because he was already walking a tight line on that sideline.
So Maple Mountain with the football at the 31. I think that's a great point, Chris, that you bring up with that, whether that ball is catchable or he was going to have a play on it. Here's Banks Jackson on the option. He'll keep it, falls forward for a couple of yards, down to the 29 with 5:24 to play here in the first half.
A great job by Timpview taking away the pitch man and Lessa staying home with the quarterback, allowing just a minimum gain on that play. And as we've seen, Maple Mountain's been creative against running against Timpview, but it's going to be tough.
2nd and 8 coming up right here. Timpview, a lot of guys with hands on their hips right now, especially on that defensive front. 4 wide receivers. They'll go play action. Jackson looking, has a man out there one-on-one. That's Merrill. That one goes incomplete, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, Merrill had a shot at it. Pretty good coverage by Galea that time for Timpview, but that was one I thought he was going to come down with. Great pass by Jackson. He put it in the spot he needed to for his receiver to make a play.
One thing to keep in mind, too, as we get to this part of the half, is Timpview got the ball to start, so Maple Mountain will get the ball in the 3rd quarter.
And Maple Mountain's close to field goal range for Banos. And this would be, 46-yarder. We've seen him kick similar.
Jackson pressured immediately, throws this one towards the sideline. It's incomplete, and it will make it 4th down and about 8 coming up right here. Decision time for Kalen Hall. And it doesn't look like, at least initially right now, that this is much of a decision, as Banks Jackson and the offense is staying on the field.
Yeah, and great pressure by number 50, Namalatula, that time for Timpview. He really can't look like he was shot out of a cannon, for lack of a better term, getting in the backfield to Jackson, and Jackson does what he can. So Timpview's probably going to be bringing the pressure again, so Jackson's going to have to get rid of it fast.
Jackson back to throw, 3-step out looking for Merrill. That one goes incomplete. And on the coverage there was Tua, the senior defensive back, and it'll be a turnover on downs, and Timpview gets the football back with 4:35 to play before halftime. The Thunderbirds, I believe, with all 3 of their timeouts the rest of the way.
A pretty good pass that time. Merrill had to turn around fast, but that one was close to being a first down for Maple Mountain. We'll have to see if they can keep Timpview out of the end zone as Timpview leads 14-13 with 4:35 here in the second quarter.
4 wide receivers here for the Thunderbirds on their 1st and 10 from the 30. And timeout going to be called Maple Mountain. And that will be the final timeout for Maple Mountain right here. But something Kalen Hall not liking or with that, so he'll take a chance. He'll take a moment to call his final timeout here, make sure he's on the same page.
Yeah, for Maple Mountain, missed opportunity on that last drive to take a lead in this game. You don't want to give up a touchdown before the half either. Timpview hasn't scored this half, which is surprising because they came out on those first 2 drives and moved the ball without very much resistance from this Maple Mountain team. But I think one thing's for sure, Maple Mountain has not been intimidated tonight and has done a good job of putting pressure on, especially in the second quarter, on Kasuga, and playing pretty good coverage in the back end too.
So 1st down and 10, ball on the 30-yard line for the Thunderbirds. Kasuga back to throw on 1st down. He's looking to take a shot. Has a man out there. That's Nakua. And a penalty flag will be thrown here against Maple Mountain as running step for step with some contact. However, there's also a penalty back in the backfield. And these may be offsetting, Chris.
It may be offsetting. And Nakua's kind of gimpy out there as he's running back to the line. But we'll see what this is. Worst case is the refs are walking back, but it's a block or some sort of 2 penalties on the defense.
There were 2 fouls, holding on the offense, 55, pass interference on the defense. Those penalties offset, will replay 1st down.
So they'll replay 1st down back at the 30-yard line right here. So Maple Mountain there maybe catches a break after, instead of the 15-yard penalty, it's a replay the down situation. With 4 wide receivers, the Thunderbirds come out here ready to go on 1st and 10. They'll run it out of the backfield. Has a hole. That's going to be a big 1st down for Timpview into Maple Mountain territory. And that's a 1st down. Asia Galei there on the carry, the sophomore, and he's got a 1st down. And one thing I've been impressed with, Chris, Timpview's playing a lot of sophomores here in this ball game. Sophomores, they've had a couple freshmen in as well.
Yeah, they're a young team. There's not too many juniors playing, but mostly sophomores and seniors.
Kasuga steps up. He's going to look to run, and he's going to be escorted out of bounds right there down to the 31-yard line. Did not see a penalty on the play, but definitely hearing lots of yelling for a hold. And that was going to make it 2nd down and about 4 coming up here for Timpview.
Yeah, there was a hold, but there's probably a hold on every play. But pretty good tackle there at the end by Kalamula.
4:04 to go here before halftime. Kasuga has a completion. That is Kazan Villa. He's pushed out of bounds down at the 15-yard line just under 4 minutes. And this is kind of the way we saw the Timpview offense in the first couple of drives going, Chris. And now it looks like they've settled back into a rhythm.
Yeah, great job by Villa finding a hole between the safety and the cornerback on that edge and allowing Kasuga to have a spot to land that ball.
They'll try to run the sweep play to the outside, diving ahead inside the 10-yard line. Right there is
it's Galea.
Offense number 61. 10-yard penalty, previous spot. Play 1st down.
But right there is going to be a 10-yard penalty a holding call against Ian Alosio, a freshman. And so that's going to back him up 10 yards. And the penalties for Timpview starting to mount up here, Chris, with that. I don't know for sure, but I think at least about 55 yards, 60 yards of penalties here in the first half.
Yeah, it's been an ugly game at times, especially for Timpview.
3:47 to go here in the second quarter. 14-13 lead for Timpview.
And Timpview's going fast. They're lined up, ready to go.
Nakua to the top of your screen. Keep an eye on him right here. Kasuga back to throw with some time. Throws to the other side. Has a man out there. And that goes incomplete. Looking for Keenan Pula, a sophomore wide receiver. And that's going to make it second down. And about 20 coming up here for...
And Pula looked like he slipped right when he was trying to make that catch. I don't know if the turf monster got him or it was just too low and out of his reach.
That dreaded turf monster. You have to keep a close eye on the turf monster. There is Nakua on the slant, and he's in. Touchdown, Timpview, and the Thunderbirds go up 20-13. This time on a 24-yard strike, from Kasuga to Nakua.
And Timpview went fast, still 35 to go. There is, we saw the speed of Nakua. And I don't know who Nakua was pointing to in the end zone when he scored. The blocking dummies or the camera, maybe?
I'm going to hope the camera. Snap good, hold good, extra point is up and good as well. So 3:35 to go here before halftime, and Timpview has gone up 21-13 right here. Every time Timpview's made a play and scored, the Golden Eagles have had an answer.
They have, and every time Maple Mountain's made a stop, Timpview has as well. So it's almost been like Simon says. So Maple Mountain with 3:35 will be a little more methodical. Timpview didn't even take a minute off the clock there on that drive. I think he started with 4:33 to go, so about 58 seconds there. So Maple Mountain, if they can take some time off the clock, come away with with the touchdown and get the ball to start, you never know. The one thing you don't want to do is if it's not there for Banks Jackson, don't force the action. It's okay to punt as well. You prefer that in a little bit of the field position game rather than trying to make a play and have a pick six or something like that.
Couple of scores from throughout the area. Mountain View leading Jordan 35-12. Wasatch leading Cedar Valley 21-7. They're not in the best order. Springville leading Orem 14-7. Timpanogos up on Salem Hills 21-0, and Payson leading Spanish Fork 10-7. Provo over Uinta 28-0 right now.
Spanish Fork has had a tough season at winning some of those close games this year.
And that one, especially with where both schools were at the RPI, Chris, that could almost be playing for home field in the playoffs. Here's Easton Merrill on the return. He gets out to the 29-yard line. And when I mean home field in the playoffs, I really mean home field in the first round right there with that 16-17 matchup in 4A.
Yeah, and Mayunga that time on that kickoff return there leveled Merrill. That was a pretty good tackle. But to your point there, Ryan, I think they were 16th and 17th, respectively. Payson was 16th, Spanish Fork 17th. Top 16 teams get a playoff game at home. Top 8 get a bye and then our home game.
So 1st and 10, back to throw. Banks Jackson being pressured, trying to get away from it here, and he will run out of bounds right around the marker.
You're not going to see too many half-yard runs more exciting than that. Banks Jackson was dead to rights about 10 yards in the backfield and did everything he could to get that 1 yard.
When you look at all-purpose yards this year, Banks Jackson averages about 107 a game with that total yards coming in. averages 289 per contest for Maple Mountain. Jackson back to throw, looking for a big play. Oh, tried to find Morehouse over the middle, and that one's batted away. And it'll make it 3rd down and about 9 coming up.
Nakua had his hands all over Morehouse that whole play. Not a penalty to be found, but that'll bring up 3rd and 9.
And these are the positions that it's tough for Maple Mountain to be in here against Timpview. With 3-4 Maple Mountain, no timeouts left the rest of the half. And in a 3rd and 9, if they have to punt and give the football back to Timpview, it could be tough to keep Timpview from making this a 2-score game. Jackson back to throw, taking a shot deep, has a man out there wide open, and it goes incomplete. Morehouse, I think, kind of got turned around a little bit out there, but there was no defender near Derek Morehouse there. If he makes that catch, it's a foot race to the end zone, and it's probably one Morehouse wins.
Yeah, Morehouse went left, he went right, he went back left, and then just couldn't find the ball. If he'd have just kept running and not moved so lateral, I think we would have seen that there. What do we got here?
Timeout call by Timpview.
So, yeah, Maple Mountain had an opportunity there with Morehouse getting behind the defense, and that might come back to haunt them.
We got another broadcast coming up for you next Friday night. We'll end our regular season of high school football here on Spanish Fork 17. Timpanogos, the Timberwolves, will make the trip down to Spanish Fork to take on the Dons. That will be senior day for Spanish Fork. And that will be Friday night, a 7 p.m. kickoff from Don Stadium. Maple Mountain, well, they play on Wednesday night here at home against Mountain Crest. That will be their senior night.
That one's going to be on Wednesday.
So generally speaking, in years past, we've always had it where it's gone second to last week Thursday, the last week of the regular season Wednesday, and it threw me off. Talked to our producer, Pete Hansen, a couple of times this week. I'm like, you're sure that game's next Friday? And that one will go, a good punt there from Leifson. That one will go out of bounds close to the Timpview 30-yard line. As right now will be first down and 10 coming up for the T-Birds.
I don't know how superstitious Maple Mountain is. Maybe they just don't want to play on October 13th, which happens to be a Friday the 13th. Things aren't lining up well next Friday, Ryan. So
Friday the 13th in the month of October. Ooh, boy.
So I'm just going to watch Friday the 13th movies all day long. If I had time.
First down and 10 from the 31-yard line. 4 wide receivers for Timpview. Kasuga back to throw. Stepping up. Has a man in the middle of the field, and that is Nakua. And they're going to say incomplete. It will bring up second down.
Yeah, great job by Sabi coming up and separating the ball from Nakua's hands there.
2:55 to play before halftime. Timpview with two timeouts remaining. That's something to keep in mind here as we go here at the end of the half. Kasuga over the middle, has a man, that's caught. That is Nakua. He's brought down to about the 42-yard line of Maple Mountain, and a first down there for Ty Nakua, the senior.
Yeah, what's crazy is there's a lot of games on Friday and a lot of games on Wednesday, and a few teams are playing on Thursday as well.
Kasuga back to throw down the sideline, making an adjustment, and they're going to say incomplete right there. I believe that was Pula.
Yeah, Pula caught the ball. Unfortunately, both his feet were out of bounds, and then he ran back inbounds. So great call by the official.
Makes it second down and 10 coming up right here at the 43. 2:32 to play before halftime. Coming up, we'll have the halftime festivities for you here from Golden Eagle Stadium. Kasuga steps up, throws this one high, but it's caught, and that's going to be a first down. Braxton Wilkerson on the catch, and Wilkerson gets brought down at the 31-yard line.
And Timpview going fast. If they score here, Maple Mountain might have enough time to try and answer before the half, but that'll be a 2-possession lead for Timpview at that point.
Kasuga steps up, throws over the middle, diving, and coming up with the catch is Quezon Villa. He's down to about the 15-yard line.
Yeah, great job by Villa identifying the ball and laying out for it.
2 minutes and 10 seconds. They'll get the chain set, and then we'll probably have the ready to play. Timpview inside the red zone, threatening to take a 2-score lead. Kasuga steps up, pressure from the backside, and he'll go down. Did the ball come out? Maple Mountain acting like it did.
I don't think it did, but great job by Kavika Breenhurst fighting through the hold there, fighting through 2 blocks and getting a horse collar tackle. So probably 3 penalties on that play, none of them called.
They would have all just offset anyway, right, Chris?
Sure.
2nd down and 16 coming up after the quarterback sack. Straight up the middle right here. And this is Timpview's been sneaky with the run tonight, as Galea again there has the carry. He gets down inside the 15 to the 11.
A 3rd down here for Timpview.
And 3rd down about, what, 4? 3?
Yeah, if you're Maple Mountain, you want to force a field goal. Unfortunately, they've used all their timeouts to stop the clock.
Kasuga steps up, has the 1st down, looking for the end zone. Is he in? Touchdown, Timpview, as Kasuga takes it right up the middle and in for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. And it's a 27-13 lead for Timpview here with about a minute to go before halftime.
Yeah, Kasuga's got 3 through the air and now 1 on the ground, as he's got responsible for all 4 Timpview touchdowns in one way or another here. Maple Mountain will have 1 minute when they get the ball back.
Thorn knock on for the extra point, and it's up and good. So the kick is good. Timpview goes up 28-13 right here. And the thing to remember too, Chris, is Timpview has 2 timeouts remaining, so they very easily could use those 2 timeouts and try one more time to get the ball back before halftime. With that, let's take a look though, Chris. Let's remind everybody about the RPI, because this is a big one in a lot of senses. In case right now at the Region 7 RPI.
And if you're Maple Mountain and you lose this, I don't know how much it's going to hurt you. It probably depends on what other teams do around you. But at that 14th spot, you're in danger of having to go on the road if you lose too many games. So it's going to be tough to come back and beat Timpview down 28-13 here with 1 minute to go in the half. But they got to probably beat Mountain Crest, and that'll be a home game. Mountain Crest is a division lower, so.
And so that's one thing that kind of does affect that game in some ways, Chris, is because of the fact that it's not going to help you as much being a 5A, 4A with a win. On the flip side, though, a loss is going to hurt you.
Yeah. Well, and anytime you win, I think it doesn't hurt in the RPI. It's when you start losing that's the problem. Doesn't matter who you play as long as you win. We saw Salem Hills do that in the past.
Maple Mountain will fake the reverse right there on the Fair and Hardy, I believe, on the return. And Hardy gets it out close to the 30-yard line. 52 seconds to go. No timeouts for Maple Mountain, so pretty much everything here has to be sidelines or first down, right?
Yeah, I think, well, if you get the first down, you got to go up and you got to kill the ball immediately. Stop that clock. It's all about managing time here. If you're Maple Mountain with no timeouts, is you got to be smart. So it's either throw for the marker or throw out of bounds.
And we saw Spanish Fork kind of struggle with that last week against Provo a little bit. Used a lot of time on their last minute drive to try to tie or take the lead. Here's a give up the middle to Hoffines, and he'll get a couple of yards to the 30-yard line. And I think Timpview is going to use a timeout, and they will.
So Maple Mountain decides they want to play conservative, and Timpview goes ahead and uses their timeouts. As the marker was at 4th down there for a second, I'm like, either I'm having a little amnesia or something.
My guess would be, Chris, they changed the marker on the wrong side.
They double-clicked. They did a double-click, and then they had to go to fourth down to get it back to second. They had to go through the cycle. See, it's a pink out here at Maple Mountain. A lot of students wearing pink. It's for breast cancer awareness.
Be second down coming up right here, and 8 for Maple Mountain at the 30. 4 wide receivers on the play. Here's the give. Hoffine tries to, nope, it's Banks Jackson. Jackson's looking for the 40, has the first down right there. So they'll stop the clock momentarily while they move the chains. Clock down to 38 seconds.
I think you try throwing it here if you're Maple Mountain. You got the first down. It's a pretty good field position. They need to start that clock, though. It took them a few seconds.
Down to 31 right here for Maple Mountain. 31 seconds. Golden Eagles with the ball. Banks Jackson looking to make a play. Takes a shot deep. Down the sideline into coverage. Easton Merrill is there, and he makes the catch inside the 20. Golden Eagles have to hurry. 15 seconds. They'll have to quickly spike it right here.
Yeah, Maple Mountain goes 4 verticals there. They won't spike it.
And
they're going to be offsides.
Or either that or we're going to have timeout Timpview, and we'll have timeout Thunderbirds.
12 seconds to go. 12 seconds to go here for Maple Mountain, and they've got a shot to kind of get this into a one-possession game here. But what a great catch by Merrill. He was surrounded, and I mean surrounded by T-Birds that time, and was able to come up with that catch. But, yeah, Maple Mountain has not been intimidated by this Timpview team. I was curious because I was looking at some of the scores, and people had scored points on Timpview this season, but then I look and Springville put up a big goose egg and held Timpview to 17 points. But
so they're going to reset the game clock because the clock started running before the penalty. Or
before the timeout.
So they'll get it back to 15 seconds right here. Maple Mountain's ready to go, but the clock's still at 16 seconds. And there we go. They got it now. And we're ready to play right here. Ball on the 18-yard line right now. Maple Mountain with the football. They'll get it out. Maple Mountain looking to throw towards the end zone. Has a man out there. It's caught, and getting out of bounds is Morehouse. Is trying to see. I think Sawyer Leifson was
the double pass. Yeah. Leifson with the catch there and then the pass. If he throws that on time and in the right spot, that's a touchdown. But great job by Morehouse, as you said, Ryan, to come up and make a play on that. And then have the wherewithal to get out of bounds.
9 seconds right here because Maple Mountain had no timeouts, and it may have been kind of tough for them to at least here they have 2 or 3 shots here at the end zone. Barring a sack or anything like that, here's a slant route, has a man caught, touchdown, Maple Mountain. It's Derek Morehouse, number 18.
Yeah, great job by Morehouse sealing off the receiver that time and using his body to make some room to make that catch. And great bullet that time by Jackson.
His second touchdown of the season. His first tonight, at Maple Mountain now an extra point away from getting this back to a 1-score game. And remember, they get the football to start the third quarter. Banuelos on for the extra point. It's up, and it is good. So 28-20 with 4 seconds to play here in the first half. And we'll see here, Timpview will get the football for 4 seconds, and then we'll have the halftime festivities for you coming up from Maple Mountain. We'll check some scores from throughout the regions, talk about some impact games, and we'll get you set for the second half here on Spanish Fork 17. So,
yeah. And how about Banks Jackson making plays with his arm, making plays with his legs on that drive? They only had a minute when the Timpview kicked off there, and they're able to go down the field and leave 4 seconds for Timpview, which might be enough time to score with the way Timpview went. But that play where they went 4 verticals and were able to find Easton Merrill in traffic, that was I don't know how he came up with it, because all I saw was a mosh pit of people.
3 white jerseys around him, and somehow Merrill comes away with that, and Banks Jackson puts it right in the one spot where it needed to go. I mean, just an incredible throw.
Yeah, Merrill with magnetic hands that time. Maybe a little stickum. I don't know if they still use that these days.
4 seconds, and they'll kick it. They'll just squib it forward, and Timpview will just fall right to the ground on the return right there. With 3 seconds. I think they've replaced it, Chris, with the receiver gloves.
With the receiver gloves, okay.
I think that's what they've done.
There's one game where I touched the ball and I'm like, yeah, why have the refs not pulled this ball yet? This thing is clearly got some substances on it.
So Timpview will have most likely one play here with 3 seconds to go. Here in the first half, 28-28, long first half here tonight from Golden Eagle Stadium. Chris, it's almost 8:30, and we're not to halftime quite yet. Kasuga ready to throw, gets this one out. This is Nakua on the catch, and Nakua is going to get upfield, brought down at the Maple Mountain 49-yard line, and that's the first half. So at the end of the first half, it's anyone's ball game. Timpview 28, Maple Mountain 20. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the halftime festivities for you from Golden Eagle Stadium. You're watching high school football on Spanish Fork 17.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
Contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
Hi, welcome to Two Jack's Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jack's Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork, or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
Will be performing a jazz routine entitled Temperature. Choreography was by McKinley and Mooley. LFA officers are Hadley Miller, the captain. Ellie Acey is the assistant captain. Alyssa Clark is the senior assistant captain. Brooklyn Charrington, Laney Cranford, Cher Jackson, Kennedy Reed are the assistant captains. Kylie Knutson is the secretary. Madison Keller is the historian. Lala Taylor is in charge of publicity and photography. Kyra Azevedo and Shaylee Durfee are the costume chairs. The Elevays, as always, are coached by Molly Brinchley, Tiffany Acey, Jessica Ellis, and Kelsey Gathercole.
The girl them skill arty. Thunderball, some give it up, some give it up, some give it up to our girls. 5,040 naughty shorty. Baby girls, all my girls. Thunderball say, well, woman, the way the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Because the girl them broke out on the floor. From you don't wanna work this for mama. From you don't wanna man work, can't turn you on. Girl, make I see you when them upon ya. Can't stand for the long, nah eat no yam, no steamed fish, nah no green banana. But down in Jamaica, we give it to you hot like a sauna. Well, woman, the way the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom.
your Maple Mountain Elevate. All right, please welcome the Maple Mountain High School cheerleaders to the field. They'll be performing a prom routine choreographed by Carly Condi. The cheer halftime is sponsored by The Barn Elite Training Center. The Barn is your one-stop location for fitness, nutrition, strength, conditioning, and community. The Barn Elite Training Club is designed to train athletes and individuals, both young and old, to help improve your life through fitness and sport. The cheer team is coached by Aubrey Ernst and assisted by Jenny Larson and Peyton Marshall. The varsity team captains are Izzy Peterson, Liberty Hugel, and Cassidy Robinson.
Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, yo. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out, hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. VIP coming live from the VIP. Heard the nightlife, lost life without me. Most feds in the state wanna see by me. The whole city got pissed, heard he got 3. That other rapper got a hit, but shouted he not out. Who set the city on fire soon as he got free? The king back now. Bros don't even know how to act now. Hit the club, strippers getting naked before I sat down. Still balls and money stacked tall and shack now. Still push a button to let the roof on the lat down. I'm on the road doing shows through my Mac down. Mississippi to Philly, Albuquerque to Chat Town. Got the crowd yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, hey. From the back they yelling, bring 'em out, hey. Yeah, with other southern rapper hooded than this. I got rich and I'm still in a hooligan twig. You be rapping by blow, I don't move in the bridge. Talk about shooting out, now we're doing it quick. If they hit you in the face, you gon' be suing me quick. If I catch another case, I know it's true to be missed. So I'ma keep a cool head, stay out of the news headlines, and show these other rappers it's bedtime. It's clear to see that I'm ahead of my time. I cop a throne, got a hard top career with a shine. I got some time, they ain't names, I get better with time. Who got a flow and a live show better than mine? I got a packed house yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, hey. From the back they yelling, bring 'em out, hey. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. You wanna beef with the king? What is you gon' do when you show up on the scene with a 2 gun drew on you and your friend and play a little 2-on-2? If you do apple what I do, then you'll be hitting the deck. I got a tool and a vest, I can get some respect. I'ma make it hard for another sucker to flex. Show 'em this ain't a squad for a sucker to test. Put up my too large and we way too fresh. Work well when they quick to check a lane like a game of chess. You wanna be better, bring your best. Cause we be standing in your front yard yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, hey. From the back they yelling, bring 'em out, hey. Front yard yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All my hot girls yelling, bring 'em out, hey. All the dope boys yelling, bring 'em out, hey. From the back they yelling, bring 'em out, hey. Your Maple Mountain Cheer Squad. Thank you to the Timpview cheerleaders for coming over and supporting as well. Good luck with your season.
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
Contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
Hi, welcome to Two Jacks Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to 2 Jacks Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
Well, back here at halftime on Spanish Fork 17, Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst, and a 28-20 halftime score between Timpview and Maple Mountain. Right now, Chris, I mean, this is kind of one of those games where you kind of maybe wouldn't have expected it to be an 8-point game at the half, but maybe wouldn't have expected 48 points put up in the first half combined between both teams.
Yeah, and really, Timpview came out and scored with very little resistance, and Maple Mountain was able to match them score for score. And, you know, the first 4 possessions, we had a 14-13 ball game. But then Timpview kind of had a little bit of separation and gave Maple Mountain the ball back with 1 minute. Maple Mountain was going to run the ball out. And Timpview used a couple of timeouts on that drive. And Maple Mountain was able to get a big play downfield to Easton Merrill, where he was in triple coverage. They went 4 verticals. Banks Jackson threw it up. Merrill makes the play, and then Maple Mountain was in striking distance to get that touchdown, to get this within an 8-point ball game here, and Maple Mountain gets the ball to start the half. So Timpview, number 1 in the RPI, struggling tonight with number 14 Maple Mountain.
Yeah, that's definitely something right now. It's going to be interesting to see the halftime adjustments, because when you really take a look at it, it's going to be very interesting to kind of see with that, maybe that first possession for Maple Mountain, because the Golden Eagles really have played a pretty solid game. They haven't, I mean, they have the 1 interception there that Banks Jackson threw on the drive at the 1, ended up at the 1, I should say.
They came away with an interception when Timpview was driving as well, so offsetting penalties, offsetting turnovers. We have seen offsetting penalties tonight as well.
Lots of penalties in that first half, a very long first half, about an hour and a half of just the first half, which for high school football, that's a very long first half. It's going to be interesting to kind of see which team is able to continue to make the plays, because it just seems like this Maple Mountain team has that desire and that will to stay in it.
Yeah, and Timpview throws the ball a lot, which but they're playing fast, but at the same time, when that ball's incomplete, clock stops. So we've seen a fair amount of incomplete passes and points. So yeah, 48 points combined in that first half. That's probably the most we've seen all season. Both offenses going strong here, and there has been a lot of penalties. So few things here slowing it down.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to kind of see right here as we recap our Triple T heating, cooling, and plumbing keys to the game. And you talked about that first one, protect the ball, and a couple of different ways. Obviously, you don't want to have turnovers, but against a Timpview offense that moves this fast, this efficiently, time of possession for Maple Mountain and maybe a couple longer drives in the third quarter really could kind of switch things as well.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to turn it over. You want to come up with some turnovers, which is our third key. But the other thing is, our second key there is don't get beat deep. Maple Mountain's done an okay job of that. We've seen Nakua get loose. I think the one thing we need to add is they need to tackle in space. Don't allow a 5-yard gain to become a 75-yard touchdown or a 40-yard run after catch. So Maple Mountain has got to tackle in space if they want to pull the upset tonight.
I'm really interested to see what happens here. Let's take a look at some of the impactful games, or games of interest, I should say, here in the area. Because you start to get at this point in the season, Chris, every game starts to become important, because everybody's trying to get those last few notches in the RPI. What game, I mean, obviously right here, our game isn't on here, but what game going into tonight were you maybe most interested in on this list?
Well, Spanish Fork at Payson, just because we cover Spanish Fork, but let's negate that one for a second. Really, I was curious on Orem at Springville to see if Orem's able to bounce back or if Springville's able to essentially finish second in the region. because we saw Maple Mountain handle Orem pretty well, and then Maple Mountain and Springville had a battle last week. So just curious to see how if Orem's able to bounce back, because they've just been such a powerhouse.
We take a look at some of the scores. First in the 5A from those games, Springville leading Orem 14-7. That one up in Springville with that here. Of course, we have our game right here. Oh, Wasatch Cedar Valley. That was the one I was looking for. The Wasps leading the Aviators 21-14 with that one. At the 4A level, Mountain View leading Jordan 35-12.
It's kind of both teams have been struggling, but Mountain View looking for their third win. That would triple last year's output.
Timpanogos right now beating Salem Hills 21-0.
It's a little bit of a surprise. We'll see Timpanogos next week against Spanish Fork.
And then Payson, well, they're leading Spanish Fork 10-7. The Dons scoring first with a Caden Vest touchdown run.
Yeah, Swayze looked like he had a touchdown pass for Payson as well. So,
and then a field goal right before the half for Payson gave them the 10-7 lead. So, and that's a big one for Spanish Fork, really, because there's a big difference, especially in that 4A classification, as we take a look at the RPI from the 5A, but Region 7. There's a big difference between in some of these areas of having to go on the road in the first round versus at home. Not even talking about a potential road game in the second round, but just trying to do that. Like here, I mean, if you're a team here in Region 7, you don't want to necessarily have to be going to Salt Lake or going north of Salt Lake in the first round.
Yeah, that's for sure, and it's even going to be worse for Region 8 potentially. There's the chance of going up to the Cache Valley area. There's a chance of going to the St. George, Washington County area down there. That Region 4 truly is, not Region 4, 4A classification is truly a state title, because there's pretty much covers the whole state. North, south, and a little bit on the east side with Uinta.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting here. Of course, I think they will shut down the RPI, at least publicly, after the release, I think, on Monday morning. And they will shut it down until
the Great Reveal on Saturday.
And then we'll find out a little bit more as to where the local teams are going to be playing right here. As we get ready to start the third quarter, quickly, Chris, one key for each team.
Yeah, so for Timpview, I mean, they've just got to get a couple stops on defense and keep that offensive passing game rolling. Maple Mountain, they've got to come up with a play on defense, and they have to keep punch for punch with Timpview, and they're probably going to have to score, 40 or 50 points if they're going to come away with a victory, because Timpview's just that talented. Let's face it, Timpview's got they've got some stallions at wide receiver. They've got 5 or 6 guys that just look like all world beater athletics. Maple Mountain's got a couple, but it's tough to match up with Timpview's receivers.
So we're set and ready to go for the third quarter. 28-20 Timpview lead. The Thunderbirds will kick it away. Easton Merrill back deep with Farron Hardy. And this one will go to Merrill, who will come up to the 10 and take it. He's across the 20, 25, one-on-one, trying to get past the defender. He does, and then he gets pushed out of bounds around the 28-yard line, depending on the spot. And Maple Mountain will take over 1st and 10.
Yeah, and I wonder if Maple Mountain's going to abandon the run here, if they're going to try and get a few more carries to Hoffines. At times they've really just had to rely on Banks Jackson being the running back.
So we'll see right here with 1st down and 10 coming up right here. Banks Jackson, Nick Hoffines in the backfield right here on 1st and 10 from the Maple Mountain 28-yard line. Jackson goes play action, pressure comes, steps up, and now Jackson's just going to try to run. Ball's loose, and Timpview, I think, has recovered. The T-Birds were right there, and they will come away with it. They will force a turnover on the first play from scrimmage of a third quarter and set them up in good field position right here.
Yeah, and that was Lessa that came up with it, but that ball was stripped, and you know, Jackson's just trying to make a play there, and Timpview with a heads-up play, stripping the ball and coming up with it.
So right now, T-Birds with the football at the 26-yard line of Maple Mountain. 5 wide receivers on 1st and 10 for Timpview. Kasuga ready to throw, taking a shot, has a man that's caught inside the 10-yard line, fighting his way for a few extra yards. Right there is Galea. And it's a 1st and goal situation right here for Timpview as they're hurrying to get the chain and get everything set up and ready to go.
You don't have to move the chains because it's 1st and goal, but you move that marker for sure.
Ready to go. Kasuga rolls out, looking for the end zone right here. Now being pressured, throws to the back of the end zone, stretching, incomplete. They're going to say right there that Jackson Farrer was just out of the end zone and just couldn't get that foot in. It'll make it 2nd and goal coming up from the 5.
Yeah, Farrer was open in the back of the end zone, and Kasaga didn't see him until it was almost too late, and he had to throw it out of bounds. Maple Mountain was late to get there to Farrer.
Ready to go right here up the middle and in. Touchdown, Timpview. And that is Asia Galea into the end zone for the touchdown. And it's a 34-20 lead for the T-Birds here, 45 seconds into the third quarter.
And the T-Birds have come up with the turnover on defense. The offense is able to march down 30 yards and get a touchdown, and we're not even 45 seconds into this quarter, and Timpview's already scored.
So ready to go right here, the extra point on and through the uprights for Thornock, and is a 35-20 lead right here. So an 8-point, one-score game becomes a 2-score game. Pretty good right here with 11-15 to go in the third quarter. Plenty of time for Maple Mountain.
Yeah, Banks Jackson's he's having a great ball game. Young kid's very athletic, needs to just hang on to that ball just a little bit tighter, and honestly, we see that at all levels of football, so not the end of the world.
So right now, Maple Mountain will send Easton Merrill back deep and Farron Hardy to the bottom of your screen, back deep to receive. The kickoff here on a Friday night under the lights at Golden Eagle Stadium. First weekend, well, I guess second weekend of October. As this one will go deep, and it will be into the end zone for a touchback. I thought maybe with a second delay they were going to let him bring it out, but it will be a touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And biggest thing if you're Banks Jackson and Maple Mountain is you have to have a quick memory right now and just go back and execute.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to still be aggressive. Those type of turnovers happen when you're playing hard, and you're playing a great team here. And Maple Mountain's so far been able to put a lot of points on Timpview, and just, you know, if you look at some of the statistics, there's been a lot of teams play Timpview, and only 3 others have been able to put up 20 points.
Jackson kind of pump fakes now, looks to run, and he's going to be pushed back and out of bounds. I think they will mark him out at the 15-yard line, so a loss of 5 on first down, and it's 2nd and 15 coming up.
Looks like Lace is down for Timpview.
And they'll stop play here. For Timpview, this is their last contest of the regular season, so they will now kind of wait to find out the RPI, and I would imagine they'll have a bye before they play their first playoff game up in Provo. But Maple Mountain, they're back at home on October the 11th. That's a week from Wednesday. No, that is Wednesday. Sorry. I'm getting my dates all mixed up, Chris. And they'll host Mountain Crest there. It'll be senior day, or senior night, I should say, here at Golden Eagle Stadium.
And that's a very winnable game for Maple Mountain. They're going to have to come up with some magic to come back in this one. Plenty of time, though. 11. You're mentioning this game's going on. This third quarter, we haven't even had 1 minute off the game clock, but it feels like we've had 10 minutes of real time.
Right here, as they'll get Lessa off the field. Here he walks off under his own power, so that's always good to see right there. But right now, it's a 2nd and 15 for Maple Mountain after a 5-yard loss. Jace Wilson in motion, number 2. Here's Hoffines on the carry, and Hoffines is going to be pulled down for another loss of a couple of yards. Getting there, I believe, was number 80. I thought it was 89, but
yeah, we saw Maple Mountain be able to run against Orem a little bit better than they had traditionally, at least in recent memory. But this is a tough team to run with Hoffines. He did have a touchdown run earlier of about half a yard on 4th down, I believe it was, of all downs.
I think it may have been Daniel Beckstead on that last tackle. Here's Banks Jackson. He'll step up. He'll look to run, and he'll be brought down at around the 22-yard line, so he'll get a few positive yards back, well short of the yard to gain, and Maple Mountain will punt. However, there's a Golden Eagle down back at around the 5-yard line. Right now with 10:13 to play here in the third quarter, 35-20 lead for Timpview.
And if you're Maple Mountain's defense, you got to help out your offense. You can ill afford to go down by 3 possessions in this game.
Right now, as they attend to the injured Golden Eagle, we'll keep an eye here as we start approaching the 9 o'clock hour. We'll keep an eye on some of those scores from throughout the games in both regions tonight here within the Spanish Fork area, as kind of wait and see here as the injured Golden Eagle is up and walking off the field. Looks like it's number 59. Sorry, 58, I think. The junior Ty Shellhouse. So we'll keep you apprised to the scoreboard updates right here, as this game may be one of the more later games to finish tonight throughout the area right here. So Maple Mountain will punt. Sawyer Leifson in. He'll punt it from the 10-yard line, a low liner that will go out of bounds right around midfield. And so Timpview will have it 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line with 9:57 to go here in the third.
So Timpview will start right at midfield, have pretty good field position, and man, they have some guys that they can throw it to, and they've got some youngsters out there.
Dead ball, personal foul from the 99. 15-yard penalty spot. The end of the run will be pushed out.
So it's a personal foul against Timpview. That will back them up 15 yards. So they will start from around their own 35 instead of right around midfield.
And that's one thing that Timpview needs to clean up, is they've had too many just dumb penalties, for lack of a better term.
Quick score update here. Payson has scored a touchdown here in the third quarter. They take a 17-7 lead over Spanish Fork. That one down in Payson, as Timpview's taking a shot deep, looking for a receiver out there, and just overthrew Jaron Pula right there, and that will make it 2nd down and 10.
Pula had a couple steps there, just overthrown, and that was a long throw by Saga. It's hard to overthrow your receiver. That you usually don't see a high school quarterback, especially a sophomore, be able to throw it that far.
And poor Jaron Pula runs back to the line of scrimmage. Immediately they snap it again. Here's a give to the running back. That's going to be a first down for Timpview, as Asia Galia there has the first down.
And back-to-back Provo teams versus Spanish Fork teams for us, Ryan.
Well, and that was the first time I've tried to call them Provo tonight. I apologize to all the Timpview faithful. Kasuga steps up. Now, looking towards the sideline, that was thrown back in towards the defensive back. It goes incomplete. Trying to get it out to Villa, number 6 again.
Villa had a pretty good, was wide open on that edge. It's hard to cover for that long, but Kasuga just kind of threw it behind him. Bit outside, as they'd say in baseball, and we got playoffs coming up.
2nd and 10 coming up right here. Pressure comes from the backside. Kasuga just throws it up, and coming back to it and bringing it in is going to be Braxton Wilkerson, number 28. It looked like that one was just going to be thrown up, Chris, and just come down somewhere incomplete, but Wilkerson able to come back to it and makes the catch.
That's a dangerous play. That's one where that gets picked off as well, but Kasuga is able to get bailed out by Wilkerson.
And here's Wilkerson again on the catch, but he's brought down immediately right there by Sabi, number 16. So a gain of about 5 yards will make it 2nd and 5 coming up.
And Wilkerson gets rewarded by kind of being thrown long and taking a shot after that.
And now penalties, a penalty flag thrown. I think this is going to be against Timpview. So a snap infraction will back him up 5 here. 2nd and 4 will be 2nd and 9.
Timpview leads 35-20 with just over 9 minutes here in the 3rd quarter.
Kasuga back to throw with some time. Now being pressured, throws it out there. It's caught. It's going to be a short gain out there to Jaron Pula, number 5. But it's only going to be about a 3-yard pickup, but it makes it a 3rd down and about 9. So there, Timpview able to get some kind of ground back.
A great tackle in the open field by Maple Mountain there, not allowing Pula to get loose.
And here's a completion over the middle, looking to get the first down. It's going to be close. I think he got it. Looking to see, that's Wilkerson again, number 26. He's having a busy second half here in 3rd quarter. He came in to the game, Chris, with 13 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown.
And when we watched Orem, when Nakua played for Orem back in the day, those receivers were excellent too. These Timpview receivers, you can tell, are just at that same level almost.
1st and 10. There's the halfback draw with Galia, and he gets down to about the 10-yard line. Well, it looks like they're going to mark him at the 12, so he must have stepped out before he went down. And it just seems like the energy that was on the Maple Mountain sideline for the first half, it just seemed like all that energy's gone now. Kasuga puts this one complete out in the flat around the 6-yard line, fighting for yards, still on his feet is Quezon Villa. He will finally be brought down around the 4-yard line right there, and it will be a 1st and goal coming up here for Timpview.
And Timpview goes fast. This Maple Mountain defense has got to be getting worn out.
Here's a give up the middle. Galia is in. Touchdown, Timpview. So the Thunderbirds go up 41-20 here with 7:55 to go in the 3rd quarter. And like you mentioned, Chris, it just seems like at the pace that Timpview is going right now, it is going to wear out this defense. It reminds me a lot of kind of back in the day, those Oregon offenses with Chip Kelly that were just, hey, go, go, go. And then, hey, 3rd, 4th quarter, try to catch your breath.
Yeah, a couple of BYU would try and do like 100 plays a game with Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams, the go fast, go hard offense.
Thornock on for the extra point, and it is good. And so with 7:55 to go in the 3rd quarter, it's a 42-20 lead for Timpview on top of Maple Mountain. The Golden Eagles are going to need a response here pretty quick offensively.
They are, and Maple Mountain's if anything else, they need to keep their defense off the field. Those guys have got to be getting tired as Timpview just lines up. You can't even catch your breath. So I can't imagine having to. I mean, they didn't even do this type of thing back in the day, but you'd get worn out even huddling up.
And much less in this, where it's just this hurry up and just go, signal in the play, line up, and
it seems like Timpview has less guys playing on both sides of the ball than kind of Maple Mountain does as well.
And that makes a big difference. And the other thing too, Chris, that I think kind of gets lost sometimes is the fact that you're in October, you're 8 games in, so you got guys that are kind of playing maybe through bruises and bumps and trying to just do their best. And I mean, it's a long season. Here's Easton Merrill on the return, trying to make a man miss. He does. Still on his feet across the 20 before being pushed out of bounds around the 23-yard line. And Maple Mountain will start 1st and 10 coming up.
Yeah, 1st and 10. The last couple drives for Maple Mountain have not gone as expected. Turnover and then a punt, but they need to at least get a few first downs on this drive.
7:46 to go, third quarter, 42-20 Timpview. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday night for high school football. Ryan Pickens and Chris Hurst. 9 on the play clock here for Maple Mountain. Banks Jackson back to throw, being pressured, steps up, and this time will not be able to slip away. Goes down back at the 19 there on the quarterback sack. It will be a 5-yard loss, for Jackson, and that's one thing that I think Timpview, Chris, has made the adjustment is
they're getting better pressure. Russ that time. We've seen Lesa. It looks like he's been replaced by Moanga. But to your point, Timpview's getting more pressure, and Jackson's having to get rid of it just a little bit faster than he had in that first half. I think that's making the difference.
Some of those gaps he was able to sneak through in the first half have closed. So 2nd down, about 15. Timpview looks like they're coming. They will fall back into coverage, but right up the middle with Hoffines. He'll get back to pretty close to the original line of scrimmage. He may have gained an extra yard, but nonetheless, it's 3rd and 9 coming up for Maple Mountain with 6:47 to play here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Timpview kind of has been over pursuing. He beat that with a little bit of a draw play there, but Maple Mountain potentially going out with another 3 and out here in this quarter.
4 wide receivers right here. Timpview almost jumped off sides. Jackson back to throw, stepping up right now. Now tries to run. Breaks 1 tackle, breaks a 2nd tackle, and he was about a yard short of the marker when he couldn't shake that last tackle right there. It's going to be 4th down and about 3 and a punt situation coming up for Maple Mountain.
A great 2nd and 3rd effort there by Banks Jackson. Just comes up a little bit short. And, he's playing against one of the better defenses in the state. He's looked pretty good doing it. It's just, where the one area where hopefully Kalen Hall year over year can make the most improvements is on defense, because this Maple Mountain defense at times has given up some points.
They'll get ready to punt this one away. This will be returned right here across the 40-yard line, trying to get outside. Picks up a block, and that is Haven Holiday. And Halliday breaks free. I don't see any penalty flags, and Halliday is gone. Touchdown, Timpview, right there. And there's a late penalty flag.
I think he spiked the ball.
That has been thrown in the end zone. Other than that, I don't see any penalty flags there. So the touchdown should stand to make it 48-20 with 5:26 to play here in the third quarter.
And if that touchdown stands, Timpview has scored 20 points with the PAT pending in this quarter, and we're at 5:26.
It doesn't look like, based off the reaction, it does not look like it's going to stand.
Taking the points off the board.
I think there may have been a block in the back or something somewhere else on the return.
Legal block on the back, the receiving team. If a 10-yard penalty is responding to foul, the dead ball, unsportsmanlike foul, under 15, fighting the ball. That's 15 yards that will go on the end of that penalty.
So Haven Halliday will learn a very tough lesson there after the great return with that one. That was going to back Timpview up. Instead of starting, they would have started, Chris, around the 47, 48-yard line.
They would have scored if it wouldn't have been for the block in the back, but then that penalty, I think they would have started at the 50. Instead, it moves it all the way back to the 35. So,
and in a game like this where Timpview's up 3 scores, those types of penalties aren't going to hurt you. But let's say it's a 7-point game and you're in the state semifinals. That's when those penalties are going to start to add up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Orem really struggled with when they were powering through people, is just discipline. You can't spike the ball in the end zone. Everybody knows that. That's been a rule since they started high school football, I believe.
Villa there on the sweep. He gets out to right around the 41-yard line. They're saying fumble, and Maple Mountain comes away with it.
That's been a wild about 2 or 3 sequences of events here. It looked like it was going to be 49-20. Timpview has double penalties on that return, and then Maple Mountain's able to get the recovery. I didn't see who recovered it, but it's a 3-possession game here. Timpview leading 42-20 with 5:11, but Maple Mountain with good field position. And at times we've seen Banks Jackson be able to move the ball well, but he's holding his arms a little bit gingerly. I don't know if he's just tired or...
I apologize for the delay call there on that fumble, but I didn't see any indication at first that it was fumbled until the coaches were starting to point Maple Mountain's way. Right up the middle, there's about 4 or 5 yards with Hoffines on first down, and that will get us under 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Ball will sit right around the 30-yard line.
Second 5 in Spanish. Sorry, Maple Mountain. No, I've done it. Able to run a drop play. Timpview's been bringing a lot of pressure, so we saw Spanish Fork do that. Maple Mountain, my goodness, Ryan, I'm struggling now myself.
Here's Hoffines right up the middle on second down, and they will get back to the line of scrimmage. We were talking about Spanish Fork and Payson a little bit ago. Well, the Dons have scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. A pair of touchdown passes, one to Ryan Olson, another one to Will Gunter. And the Dons lead 21-17 down in Payson.
And those two teams, depending on how things go, could have a rematch in the playoffs. It's been looking that way in the RPI the last couple of times.
So it's going to be third down and about 4 coming up right here. Most likely 2-down territory for Maple Mountain. Banks Jackson back to throw, now trying to escape. He gets away from one. He's going to put it down and run for it. He's going to pick up the first down. He's going to get out of bounds a couple of yards later. A penalty flag has been thrown right there after the play.
Yeah, Banks Jackson made 3 guys collide on this run. I don't know if we'll see it here, but 3 Timpview guys kind of trip over each other. That's fun. Gets the first down, but we'll have to see what the penalty is.
Personal foul. Defensive player here, number 68. The penalty being enforced as part of the foul. He plays third down.
So they'll take the first down away from Maple Mountain. They'll back it up there from the spot of the foul. So it's going to end up being about third down. And coming up.
One thing's for sure, these teams don't like each other. There's been plenty of pushing and shoving.
And what's interesting about this is the first year in a while that they've been in the same region for football.
Yeah, Timpview was in the old, I guess it was Region 7, and Maple Mountain was in Region 8.
Banks Jackson at quarterback right here. Back to throw with some time. Jackson steps up, looking downfield. Throws it up into 3 guys, and Jackson, I think, just throwing that one away, and it's going to bring up fourth down.
Everybody was covered downfield, so really nowhere to go. And Maple Mountain, despite starting with great field position at the 35, will have to punt. And they had the first down, but that late hit's going to come back to bite them.
So Sawyer Leifson will come in to punt for Maple Mountain, number 20. He's dropping back to about his own 41-yard line, back deep to receive. is Nakua, number 10. He's back at about his own 2-yard line, and Leifson will do a low line drive punt. Jumping is Quazon Villa. He catches it about the 13. Down the sideline, and he's going to be forced out of bounds right around the 29. He was doing everything with the feet there, Chris, to try to stay in bounds right there.
I'm going to predict that Alsoa, number 13, had a block in the back there because that one's coming back. I think I saw the receiver or the line judge throw the flag there.
There's a flag right around the 31-yard line. And so, again, instead of good field position, this one would back Timpview up inside the 20, I believe.
There's a return. Illegal block in the back on the receiving team, number 10. A 10-yard penalty, first down.
They still get Nakua for that.
So they'll back it up, and I said inside the 20. It will be right at the 20 for Timpview. 3:29 to go, third quarter, 42-20. T-Birds on top of the Golden Eagles. Here's the give on first down, right up the middle. This time Maple Mountain's there. The Golden Eagles able to stop him. No gain really at the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard or so. Trying to see who is on. And I believe that was Will Rasmussen, the freshman running back. He's the one that's in the backfield right now, right next to Kasuga. They'll throw this time, looking downfield, has Nakua. He's got a first down. Across the 45, ball comes out loose. It's still on the ground. Maple Mountain says they have it right here, and it's Maple Mountain football. So the Golden Eagles turn over Timpview. Once again, the defensive backs for Maple Mountain make a big-time play, and the Golden Eagles will regain possession at around midfield.
Wow, Maple Mountain's come up with a couple of fumble recoveries here. Offense has not been able to do anything. Timpview has made some great adjustments at half, getting pressure and really not allowing it, but much to go on. So I looked up, and Ty Nakua's got 6 offers out there, including the major 3 FBS schools in Utah, along with former P5 school, Washington State. Sorry.
Back to throw with some time. Banks Jackson now being pressured, looking downfield. Throws that one to the sideline. Caught out of bounds. Caden Lockwood, the senior tight end, made the nice play. He's just ineligible and out of bounds.
And not wearing a helmet or pads.
Well,
he's rocking the shorts, though. It's cold. It was a little bit chilly a couple weeks ago here at Maple Mountain, and last week was a little warmer, but weather's changing, Ryan. Are we going to get 1,000 inches of snow at Alta this year?
For the people, I'm not a big skier, snowboarder, things like that, but I know a lot of people in the state love that, so I hope they get it. Second down and 10 coming up. There's Jace Wilson on the catch. He dances around one defender before being brought down at the 48-yard line. A short gain right there of about 3. We'll make it third down and 7 coming up here for Maple Mountain.
The second time Wilson's touched the ball tonight. The first time he got slammed and fumbled the ball out of bounds, fortunately for him. So it's good to see him hang on the ball. He's second catch, he got hit pretty good too.
So down 2:10 to go here in the third quarter. 42-20 lead for Timpview. Maple Mountain with the football, driving, looking to try to see if they can chip their way back into this one. Banks Jackson back to throw, has some time, now stepping up. Looking downfield, has a man in the middle. It's caught at the 30, stretching for an extra yard or so. And that is Morehouse on the catch.
Morehouse, I thought, was going to just get lit up, and somehow he's able to squirm between the 2 Timpview defenders and hangs onto the ball.
So Morehouse with the catch. He's had a nice game tonight for Maple Mountain.
It's 42-20 with 1:37 to go here in the third quarter. Timpview leading.
So Banks Jackson with the football in his hands with 4 wide receivers. Morehouse in motion. Jackson takes a shot, looking top of your screen, one-on-one coverage. It's batted away, almost intercepted. Getting his hands on it, just couldn't quite haul it in, was number 15. That is Haven Halliday. Halliday was the one that had the punt return brought back for a touchdown before a penalty would take that off the scoreboard. With a minute 19 to go here in the third quarter, it's a 2nd and 10 from the 31. We'll try to keep you updated as we go throughout the rest of tonight on scores as they begin to go final. Tonight they have about 10 minutes left in that game between Spanish Fork and Payson. As Banks Jackson, that one goes incomplete, and it brings up 3rd and 10. And that's been one of the biggest differences, I feel like, Chris, first half to second half, the pressure that Timpview's been able to get. And it's really like you turned on an oven and you went from a 2 to a 3 to a 7 almost coming out of the locker room.
I'm not sure what a 7 means as far as Celsius or Fahrenheit, but I get your point, Ryan. They've really turned up the heat.
So 3rd down and 10 coming up. Ready to go right here. Maple Mountain looking, just kind of feeling like the Golden Eagles are looking for somebody to make a big play. Timpview looks like they're coming. Here comes a reverse. Morehouse has it. Can he get the edge? He's at the 30, 25, knocked out of bounds. A penalty flag comes flying in.
And usually you don't see much success on those reverses, especially with teams that like Timpview that have a lot of defensive speed, but it worked that time.
So right there, we'll see what the penalty's going to be. As Timpview's pointing against Maple Mountain and the Golden Eagles are walking back.
A lot of penalties tonight.
It's one thing I think both teams.
In the offense, number 1. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay 3rd down.
So Easton Merrill, the guilty party on that penalty right there. I think that's one thing. If you sat both coaches down in a room and said, hey, what's a couple things you'd want to take away from this one that you need to clean up before your next game, I think both penalties would probably be on both their lists.
Yeah, and you really, Timpview's been able to overcome penalties because their offense just has so much firepower. Maple Mountain it's tough. You make a play, you get a first down, it's negated by a penalty. That's the second time in this quarter that's happened.
So 3rd down and 12. Banks Jackson steps up. He looks like he's going to try to run. Now he crosses the line of scrimmage, has to take off. He's going to get a yard, maybe 2 to the 30 before being brought down. And it's going to make it 4th down and about 10 coming up here for the Golden Eagles. Under 30 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Jackson lost his sleeve there, but clock is running. Maple Mountain doesn't have to run a play here. They can switch, but they're down 22. They're going to have one heck of a fourth quarter if they want to come back and win this.
They just feel like with a couple of the turnovers that they forced here in the third, that window was kind of open for them offensively to try to chip their way back in. Maybe not get all 22 back, but chip their way in. We'll end the third quarter. Timpview on top of Maple Mountain, 42-20. When we come back, we'll have the fourth quarter. You're watching high school football in Spanish Fork 17.
If you're looking for a workout, you know MVP Sports is the place to start, and that includes pickleball. MVP Sports has all you need to get active in this growing sport. Paddles, shoes, clothing, and the pickleballs. MVP Sports in Spanish Fork.
The best time to check your furnace is before it fails, and you can rely on Triple T to do the job right. Our technicians are trained every year so you can sleep better at night, knowing your furnace is safe to operate. Call Triple T at 798-7711 to schedule your tune-up today.
The start of the fourth quarter here on Spanish Fork 17. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hirsch. Thanks for making us part of your Friday night as Timpview leads Maple Mountain 42-20 as the Golden Eagles have a key fourth down coming up right here early on in this one. And Chris, it'll be interesting to see here what they decide to dial up with an opportunity right here. Those pockets earlier that were there for Banks Jackson haven't been there as much in the second half as they were in the first. Jackson back to throw. Play action. Taking a shot over the middle. That one's incomplete. I think he was looking for Leifson. And it'll be a turnover on downs, and the ball goes back to Timpview.
Yeah, good coverage in the backfield there for Timpview. And so they'll get the ball back with a 22-point lead. Now, I wonder if Timpview's going to try and run some time off the clock, or are they just going to line up and go 4 or 5 wide and just chuck it all over the place? They've had a lot of success. There were 2 touchdown runs on that last drive by Galea.
So we'll see here as Kasuga will pitch it on first down. This is Will Rasmussen, number 19. Rasmussen still on his feet, out to about the 40-yard line, picks up about 9 or so on first down.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Rasmussen in this ball game, as Galea has been the featured running back.
Rasmussen entered tonight's, having played 2 varsity games, 6 carries. Here's another sophomore. That's Wilkerson out there on the catch. He's had a nice game, Braxton Wilkerson. And just like that, Timpview's across midfield.
Yeah, Wilkerson looks like he has some wheels on him. He's made some plays tonight.
1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Kasuga stepping up, looking. Has a man out there. That's intercepted. Tiger Hakes comes away with it. And Maple Mountain's defense forces a big-time stop right there as Kasuga just kind of threw, just kind of floated one, just didn't have the distance. There's a Timpview player down, too.
I think Kasuga got hit at the end of that play by both Greenhurst and Wolfgram. But, yeah, another interception there, and that's the one thing Timpview has struggled with, is with interceptions as well.
We'll see right here who.
That might be a cramp. Pretty sure that's
trying to see.
Kasuga that's down, I believe.
Right here. Let's take a moment here to thank our sponsors while we have this break in the action. We want to thank Lance Wilson, State Farm Insurance, 2 Jacks Pizza, MVP Sports, and Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. We thank them for making us a part of your. We thank them for making tonight's broadcast possible here. We want to welcome those watching on our YouTube page, youtube.com/SpanishFork17, where you can catch replays of this game and our many other broadcasts and shows on our YouTube page as well. So the injured Thunderbird was Ian Alicio. He comes off the field under his own power. Just looked like Chris mentioned, a cramp. And 1st and 10 for Banks Jackson and Maple Mountain. He's looking for Easton Merrill, and there they kind of get bumped up. And Maple Mountain wanting a pass interference. It's going to go incomplete and makes the 2nd down.
Yeah, the officials determined that's uncatchable, but I don't know if they realize how fast Merrill is.
And that would make it 2nd and 10. And that has to be, a tough judgment call on the officials' part with some of it, is having to, kind of say, okay, is that catchable? Would he have gotten there? Would he have? But right there, that one staying in favor of Timpview with 11:02 to go here in the 4th quarter. Back to throw. Jackson steps up, fires this one over the middle. It's caught. That'll be about a 5-yard gain or so. Looking to see who that is, I believe, number 88, Stonebreaker.
Yeah, a 7-yard pickup there, and Maple Mountain on the plus side of the field once again.
In this football game, 42-20 lead for Timpview on top of Maple Mountain. A 3rd and 6 coming up for the Golden Eagles. They need the 43-yard line. Back to throw. Jackson has a man that's caught. Again, Stonebreaker, and he's brought down at the 42-yard line. Fresh set of downs coming up here for Maple Mountain.
And Maple Mountain's finally moving it. They've struggled at times to get some points here, but things going in the right direction. And no update to the Spanish Fork score. Pretty good ball game over at Springville. As that last check, that was tied at 21 apiece with Orem there.
So 1st and 10 play coming up. Straight up ahead with Nick Hoffines, and Hoffines down to the 35-yard line or so. And a good pickup. That may be one of the best just straight runs up the middle Maple Mountain's had tonight. A good pickup there of about 5.
Yeah, and really what they're doing is Timpview's been putting so much pressure that they're allowing kind of those draws for Maple Mountain to get a few yards, but not consistently, though.
Wilson goes in motion. Penalty flags come in at the snap, and this is likely going to be coming back against Maple Mountain.
Ready, snap, false start, offense, number 56. For penalty, it's still 2nd down.
Zach Jensen there getting the penalty, and that will make it 2nd down and 10 coming up after the penalty. 9:18 to play here in the 4th quarter. 42-20 lead for Timpview.
And that's kind of a frustrating thing is Maple Mountain's beating themselves with penalties in the second half. We've seen that time after time.
Maple Mountain with a pair of backs in Hoffines and Leifson. Screen pass, tries to get it to Hoffines and was not fooling Pakahunga there from his linebacker spot. As immediately once Hoffines caught it, Hunga was there to make the stop.
And that'll bring up 3rd and 12, and Maple Mountain's just not been able to. They moved the ball really well in that first half, but between Timpview's pressure and the penalties, Maple Mountain not done anything in this second half.
So it's going to be 3rd down and about 12. Jackson back to throw with some time, fires over the middle. That one's going to go incomplete. Looking right there for number 28, Seth Croft. And Leifson will come on. It looks like the Golden Eagles will punt.
Well, 8:10 to go. You're not going to get too many more chances, but Maple Mountain might be playing the respect game on the scoreboard now.
So Nakua will drop back, number 10 to receive. He's at about his own 9-yard line or so. Leifson booms a nice punt. It's going to take a Timpview bounce that go into the end zone. And it will come out to the 20-yard line with 8:03 to go here in the 4th quarter. Next Friday night, we'll have our final broadcast of the regular season, as we'll be back over at Spanish Fork for a 7 p.m. kickoff. The Timpanogos Timberwolves and Spanish Fork, they'll be playing for some RPI position in that one, especially if Spanish Fork pulls out that win tonight against Payson. Then that will have some RPI implications coming up next week for sure.
Yeah, well, Spanish Fork, if they can hang on at Payson tonight and win that game, probably will play themselves into having a home game.
There's a completion out to the far sideline there for just a few yards. Believe that was Jaron Pula, sophomore on the catch.
And looking, I have a button on the Deseret News that'll let you look at the previous matchup, and last time Spanish Fork played Payson, it was 58-0 in Spanish Fork's favor, but that was clear back in 2020.
When was the last time these two teams played? Because it's been a few years since Timpview and Maple Mountain have played, as Timpview gets ready here to have a 3rd down and about 3 coming up.
2014.
So it's been more than a few years since these two have played. Straight up the middle right there with the quarterback, Kasuga.
Yeah, and the little roundup says here, Britton Covey finished the night with 3 rushing touchdowns for Timpview and completed 2 touchdown passes. So
that wouldn't have been Covey against Jaron Hall, would it?
It would have been.
It would have been, that's right. Boy, a couple of greats in the state of Utah going at it those nights. Right there. as a penalty flag comes in. I think this is going to be, this may back Timpview up.
Jaron Hall had 88 yards rushing and 109 yards passing against Timpview.
Snap infraction, number 58.
So snap infraction. That will back Timpview up, and I think for maybe the first time tonight, Timpview, well, not the first time. I think they've punted one other time tonight.
Well, they went 3 and out from their own 1.
That's right. So they've punted a couple of times with that, but boy, those are some good battles with Britton Covey and Jaron Hall, not just on the football field, but in the basketball court. Those two teams played a couple of really good games, and that one's muffed by Maple Mountain, and Timpview's got it. Coming away with it was Zeke Vea, number 33, who just was in the right spot at the right time, just falls right on it.
Yeah, we had a pretty clean offensive game in that first half. This second half's been a lemon. It's just a lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers. Timpview needed what they need to do within the first couple minutes, and we haven't had any points after, 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. So 42-20, Timpview, 6:45 to go here, could really take a lot of time off the clock if they want, although they line up fast.
6:45 to go. Kasuga and the offense back out there for Timpview. And the ball will be on the 45-yard line. Back to throw. Kasuga stepping up, looking over the middle, has a man out there and undercutting it and knocking it away. I think with Sabi. Nope, that was Fano, number 12.
Villafano there hits himself in the head because he thought he could have had an interception, but still makes a pretty good play there.
Would have been his second INT of the night. And now just going to make it 2nd and 10. Coming up right here. I know you didn't call Maple Mountain basketball with me during those years. That was special teams coach and secondaries coach Jerry Huffman from Maple Mountain football. I'd imagine he'd be decently pleased tonight with his secondary forcing a couple of turnovers. As here's Villa, he gets outside, he's looking for a first down, and he's going to be brought down right around the marker.
Yeah, once again, Villa able to make a catch, break a few tackles, get a few extra yards. That's probably something that Jerry's not happy with, is some of the tackling.
So it'll be enough for a first down for Timpview.
How do you contain Jerry? You get him in a basketball game, and that guy's he's the Energizer Bunny, Ryan.
Somehow we make it work. It balances out our personalities really well, and it's been fun. I think we're going on our 9th or 10th year, something like that together, calling Maple Mountain basketball here on Spanish Fork 17. And here's a pass out to a wide receiver for a few yards. That is, trying to see, that is Villa again, number 6. He's had a busy evening for Timpview. And clock down now to 5:43 and running right here. 42-20 lead for Timpview on top of Maple Mountain. Timpview, I would think, holds on and wins this one. They'll probably be the number 1 seed come the final RPI. So I would think that all roads will run through Timpview to make it to Rice-Eccles Stadium. Pressure coming. Kasuga now being chased, looking downfield, picks up a big block there, and then a penalty flag comes in. And right at the end, as the pass there was intended for Jackson Farrer, but there I think you're going to get a penalty against Timpview.
Yeah, I think it's against Henchelwood, number 55, but I think it was a clean block. He got his head in front of him.
Personal foul, right inside ball.
Did you see? He was a good block, but he got his head in front of the other guy, so I don't know.
It was probably one of those blocks that looked worse than maybe it was, at least from up here. Now, I realize that everyone may have had a different vantage point than that, but
he got in front of him, but why he made the block, and I don't think it's blindside if you can see him. So
2nd down and a while coming up here for Timpview. I think it's 18. They need the 35 for a fresh set of downs with 5:06 to play here in the fourth quarter. Here is Villa again, this time through the slot. He's going to get a good gain back, still on his feet as he kind of throws his arm forward down to the 40.
Yeah. And Villa, he's having a great night. He's an athlete, they list him as, and a senior. I'd say he's a guy that's willing to break a few tackles. I don't know what position that is, but apparently that's athlete.
3rd down and 7 coming up. I think that pretty much means he's going to play a little bit of everything.
Yeah, well, on our roster, I'm the unathlete.
Well, if what's below unathlete? Because that's probably where I fall in. Is that one is complete towards the sideline, but it's going to be
unathletic. That's why they spell that one, I guess. I don't know.
4th down and 7 coming up.
All right, Timpview keeps the offense out here. And short turnaround for Maple Mountain. They'll have Mountain Crest making that long drive down here.
Yeah, they'll have Mountain Crest Wednesday night, 7 o'clock kickoff here from Golden Eagle Stadium as Timpview punts, and they're going to put it inside the 10, and it's going to take a Maple Mountain bounce out to about the 13-yard line. A pretty good punt from Kasuga there. And with 4:10 remaining here in the fourth quarter, Maple Mountain will have the football back right here for their next drive as they look to try to build some momentum into next week, maybe get this one a little bit closer right here, but down 3 scores with 4 minutes left. I think it's going to be really hard, Chris, to get 3 scores.
It is, and just an update for you with 1:52 to go. Those Lions from Payson seesaw back in the lead, 24-21.
That would be the second consecutive game that that Spanish Fork has had it come down to the wire right here. Sawyer Leifson in at quarterback, and they give it on 1st down up the middle. We'll see here who gets with that right up the middle. Trying to see who. I think that is Hoffine still up the middle.
So 3:50 to go here, and really it's kind of garbage time. This one's out of reach, so this is an opportunity for Leifson to get a few snaps in. Banks Jackson kind of looked a little beat up in this game. Save him for next week, so I think this is a smart play.
Here's a give right up the middle again, and this, I believe, that might have been Yishi there on the carry, 23, and it was. So Yishi gets the carry. Earlier on the season, he was one of the starters. He ends up, it looks like his 18th carry. They have the Golden Eagle lit on fire there in the end zone.
Hashtag stay warm.
Here it is, cooling off quickly. I noticed the heater came on in the press box. I don't know who was responsible for that, but I'm feeling some warm air over here.
We've got the windows open and the heater on. My mom said not to do that, but we see better with the windows open.
Right up the middle right here, and it's going to be 3rd down. It'll be 4th and about a yard or so coming up right here as Yishi goes up the middle with 2:45 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Hey,
in fact,
give him the first down.
They're going to give him the first down. I stand corrected as Maple Mountain right here will get ready. Timpview, their regular season will come to an end tonight. But they will be ready to go for the playoffs. They're going to have a long break potentially, Chris, before their next ball game. And that, I don't know. That may be a good or bad thing, depending. As Leifson keeps it there on the quarterback read play. He'll get 4 yards.
Yeah, and curious to see when they have the playoffs. Because a lot of people will be heading into fall break the first week of the playoffs.
So I think the playoffs typically would start, the weekend of the 20th? Which means Timpview wouldn't play to the 27th. If that's accurate. That may not be accurate. Chris is looking it up for everybody right now.
It says first round games will be October 20th.
Okay, so 1:45 remaining here in this one. Leifson will hand this one off. And Yishi will go backwards, lose about a yard or so. So if you have a first-round bye, then you're not playing to the 27th. What do you do if you're Timpview in that next 3 weeks? Because that's a long time between games.
Probably having a really hard practice somewhere in there. It's kind of maybe a simulated scrimmage for a little bit, but yeah, they'll definitely be coming in fresh. You just don't want to come in rusty.
Right here is minute 10 to go. 3rd down and 6 coming up for Maple Mountain. Back to throw. Leifson looking downfield and nobody home. There, that one goes incomplete, makes it 4th down. It stops the clock with 58 seconds to go, and the Maple Mountain punt unit will come out right here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would personally like that long of a break, but you know, I get there's pros and cons, and everybody may have a different opinion.
Well, they definitely planned it out because, or maybe they couldn't find anybody to play that last week because they knew heading in that was how the schedule would work. And
fumble ball's loose, but Timpview recovers it with 49 seconds.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure you join us at our next home game, which is Wednesday versus Mountain Crest at 7 p.m. Again, that next home game is Wednesday night versus Mountain Crest here at 7 p.m.
So right there. So be interesting to see here, 49 seconds. We were just told that different fall breaks, different school districts, and what that means. That's why you see maybe some games next week on Wednesday, some Thursday, and some maybe on Friday. But with that.
Yeah, the interesting thing for these kids is they might play on a Friday where the student body will have Thursday and Friday off, and a lot of families vacation around that time of year. If you've been to National Park on fall break, you'd know what I'm talking about.
I have not. So I'll take your word for it, Chris. So we'll see right here. Timpview will just turn and take a knee. Kalen Hall, I don't think will use any timeouts right here. Coming up here after this one goes final, we'll take a short break. After we come back, we'll have our final thoughts. We'll have our MVP Sports MVP of the game coming up right here. One more snap should just about do it for this one here from Maple Mountain tonight.
And it's gone final at Payson. Payson beats Spanish Fork 24-21, and Spanish Fork is like the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They just cannot win those close games this season.
And so this one will go final. Here's Timpview takes the final snap. 42-20 our final. Thunderbirds over the Golden Eagles. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap this one up and have our MVP Sports MVP of the game. You're watching high school football on Spanish Fork 17.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
Contact State Farm agent Lance Wilson today.
Hi, welcome to Two Jack's Pizza.
For the best pizza you'll ever taste and our world-famous cheese sticks, come to Two Jack's Pizza on Main Street in Spanish Fork or call us for a quick delivery. Are you hungry yet?
Well, a 42-20 final here tonight from Maple Mountain. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst. Chris, this was one where kind of a seesaw game early on, but Timpview all of a sudden turned up the pressure in the second half, and it made a big difference.
Yeah, Timpview came out, scored a couple of touchdowns really quick. We had a 28-20 ball game. And then the game just was ugly with penalties and 5 turnovers in that second half for both teams combined. It got really ugly, and Timpview was able just to hang on, but really those adjustments that Timpview came out and made on Banks Jackson in that second half really paid off. But credit Maple Mountain, they gave Timpview all they could handle in that first half.
Yeah, Banks Jackson had running lanes. He was able to find time to throw in that first half. And all of a sudden, when he came out for the third quarter, it was almost like a different Timpview team with those adjustments that their coaching staff had made at halftime, and you have to credit them. They found a way, the one spot where Maple Mountain was seeing a lot of success, they found a way to kind of take that away.
Yeah, You know, if you're Maple Mountain, you got to have a short memory. You got a game on Wednesday. Mountain Crest Mustangs are coming to town, and that should be an exciting ball game.
So it will be interesting to see here. Our MVP Sports MVP of the game goes to quarterback Banks Jackson. When you take a look at his first half, a couple of those, a lot of people will talk about the plays he makes with the ball in his hands running. But what impressed me tonight, Chris, was a couple of the throws that he made that I'm like, okay, don't throw it. Okay, I guess you threw it and it worked out well.
Yeah, for sure. He was able to put the ball in a few small windows. I can think of a couple of passes in particular, but really his ability to run and throw that ball in the first half made this a ball game. And it was looking like it could go down to the wire, but really Timpview, they have a lot of athletic talent, and they're out there doing up downs now.
So right now, I mean, you don't see that too often where game ends and you're out there doing up downs, but
that's how they're preparing for the bye week.
With that,
okay,
the last time
got a guy that did one too many up downs.
That's the last time we'll see Maple Mountain for the regular season. Next Friday we have. We're over at Spanish Fork. Timpanogos and Spanish Fork. The Dons are coming into that one, Chris, having lost 2 games really late in the fourth quarter. How do they kind of flip that switch and get ready to go now for Timpanogos?
Well, they've lost a lot of close games, so they can't worry about that. They've got to figure out a way to regroup. I think that, if they can run the ball with Caden Vest, that opens up a lot for Smith. So I think that's probably what we're going to have to focus on, is having that balanced offense and then having that defense stop Timpanogos. But that should be an excellent game as well.
That should be a fun one for sure next Friday night. Well, tonight, Timpview gets the best of Maple Mountain by a 42-20 final. For my partner, Chris Hurst, our entire Spanish Fork Community Network sports team, I'm Ryan Pickens saying so long from Maple Mountain, where tonight Timpview gets the better of the Golden Eagles.